Chapter 484. Inside the Dark Star, Lin Jun had already chosen the location for the transplanting. The crustal movement in the Dark Star had already ended, and 3 continental plates had formed. The location he chose was in the center of the largest continental plate. There was a small basin here, and the soil and water resources were just right for the transplanting. After the Eternal Crystal spaceship entered the Dark Star, it immediately placed the star fruit tree in the basin. The small robots were also brought in by Lin Jun. After entering, they started cultivating the soil. The cloud contact vine wrapped around the starfruit tree, and the wisteria attached itself to the tree and transplanted into it. Within the Dark Star world, Lin Jun was the master. Everything here was like his body, and he could clearly observe it. When the starfruit tree and the cloud contact vine took root in the Dark Star at the same time, something magical happened. A powerful life force began to spread within the Dark Star world, causing the entire space to tremble. It's about to advance. This was a mysterious power. Although life forms could enter the Dark Star in the past, such as the dwarf Nicole being placed inside by Lin Jun, that was an external life form. The Dark Star itself did not possess the conditions to nurture life. However, it was different now. With the powerful life force of the starfruit tree and the cloud contact vine, everything in the Dark Star world changed slightly. The water was no longer stagnant, and the air began to warm up. Sunlight, air, water, soil, these are the most basic conditions for nurturing life. After the arrival of the 2 huge plants, they finally came to life. The Dark Star ring around the Dark Star seemed to have become alive, and it slowly revolved around the Dark Star. The Dark Star itself was also moving along a mysterious path within the space. On the sky, Lin Jun's artificial sun had already stabilized. The 4 seasons had already begun to change, and the seasons were changing. The Phanerozoic universe. I've finally entered the Phanerozoic universe. When a powerful star power erupted from the Dark Star space, Lin Jun knew that his transplanting work this time had an unexpected effect. The Dark Star was originally at the peak of the primordial universe. This time, it had finally broken through the barrier and entered the Phanerozoic universe. The new and powerful star power spread, causing Lin Jun's strength to reach another peak. The Dark Star's Phanerozoic universe corresponded to the martial artist's satellite period. But in the same situation, the star strength of a dark star far surpassed the star strength within a martial artist's dantian. After all, this was the real world, and the star's strength contained within was far greater. Moreover, with the starfruit tree and the cloud scraper vine pushing forward, Lin Jun's Phanerozoic universe was rapidly advancing. Lin Jun estimated that once the Dark Star fully adapted to these 2 life forces, it would at least reach the middle stages of the Phanerozoic universe. What a truly powerful power. The star power of the Phanerozoic universe. Coupled with my peak Planet 8 level power, I can clearly feel that my strength has gone up another level. Although it's still not enough to fight against a nebulous stage being, I have an overwhelming advantage against anyone below the nebulous stage. After the transplant, Lin Jun decided to meditate in space to get used to his new power. 10 days. This time, Lin Jun's cultivation lasted for 10 days. During these 10 days, he collected planet crystals from the starfruit tree and pushed himself to the peak of the Planet 9 grade. He was only a step away from the star stage. After the starfruit tree was transplanted, the rate of star crystals was further accelerated. In another 2 months, the amount of star crystals would be enough for Lin Jun to advance to the star stage. Now that the Dark Star has advanced, my strength has gone up another level. Although I'm still no match for a nebulous stage being, I can't avoid it. I need to know how big the gap is between me and a nebulous stage powerhouse. Only by knowing this can I have a goal and move toward it. Lin Jun returned home. Now that the starfruit tree was in his hands, his parents and wife could have free star crystals to use. Lin Lie and Li Qin only needed star core crystals at the moment, and Ning and Su Mingwen needed comet crystals, which were plentiful in the starfruit tree. The Angel Sisters and Ling needed satellite crystals. These were all people that Lin Jun trusted. He could also give them some to absorb so that they could advance faster. Of course, he gave the most to his family. After obtaining the star crystals, his family's cultivation speed greatly increased. Lin Jun also began his next plan. He entered the simulation field again. Chris, can the simulation field simulate a nebula stage opponent? Yes, Master. As long as you are willing to pay enough money, let alone a nebula stage, even an astral stage World King powerhouse can be simulated. However, I don't recommend you do that. That kind of comparison is meaningless and will only be a waste of money. Of course, I won't recklessly challenge a World King. What I need to face now is a nebula stage opponent. I can only simulate a nebula stage opponent. Alright, simulating a nebula stage expert is charged by the minute. Nebula stage level 1 to 1 minute costs 1 million 3 river dollars. Level 2 costs 2 million. Level 3 costs 3 million. And level 4 costs 10 million. This is because level 4 belongs to the middle nebula stage. This price is not low, but it is still acceptable for me. Let's simulate for 1 minute. Level 1 nebula stage is fine. Roger, please get ready. Simulation in progress. Lin Jun entered the simulation field. It was a desert filled with yellow sand. In the air in front of him, a figure appeared. This person's face was blurred, but the powerful energy emitted from his body shocked Lin Jun. When he rushed out of the World Stone, Lin Jun faced Tianxi. Tianxi's powerful strength was still unforgettable to Lin Jun, but it could not be compared to this person. After all, Tianxi had just broken through and was still unstable. However, the person in front of him was a genuine nebula stage powerhouse. As soon as this person appeared, he waved the long blade in his hand. A destructive aura erupted. The blade flashed and instantly arrived in front of Lin Jun. Open. The star power of the peak planet stage and the dark star power of the Phanerozoic universe erupted at the same time. The yin-yang spear in his hand was held horizontally, resisting this unprecedented attack. Boom! At this moment, Lin Jun felt as if a mountain was crashing down on him. The opponent's power was almost unstoppable. Now, he could not distinguish between the virtual environment and the real world. In order to survive, in order to live, his potential was also stimulated at this moment. His body and bones were undergoing a huge test at this moment. The two forces formed a temporary stalemate above Lin Jun's head. 3 seconds. 5 seconds. After a full 7 seconds, the blade flashed, and Lin Jun was killed in one slash. When his consciousness returned to the dimensional universe, Lin Jun stood there in a daze. He did not move for a long time. Master, what are you doing? Chris hurriedly urged. After a few minutes, Lin Jun let out a long breath. His face was filled with joy. A level 1 nebula is indeed strong, but I'm not completely defenseless. Lin Jun's energy center had been compressed by 10 times. It was already 10 times stronger than an ordinary person. With the addition of the similarly strong dark star power, although he could not compare to a nebula stage, he was not completely defenseless. There was a difference, but it was not as far apart as the distance between heaven and earth. With this understanding, Lin Jun's worries about the future were instantly swept away. There were still more than 4 months before Slank arrived. Lin Jun still had a chance. Recalling the scene when he fought with a nebula stage, Lin Jun could already feel the strength of his opponent's star power. Next, he had to fight for a longer time in the simulated reality field and accumulate experience in fighting against a nebula stage. Although he did not last for a minute, he still spent 1 million 3 river dollars. Lin Jun activated it for another minute and entered the simulated reality field again. It was the same field, the same person, and the same unstoppable slash. However, Lin Jun was already prepared. The moment he entered, he dodged. Because he had predicted this, Lin Jun actually dodged this slash. After dodging this slash, Lin Jun immediately rushed toward his opponent, wanting a counterattack. However, while he was still moving forward, the second slash came crashing down. After another short stalemate, Lin Jun was eliminated once again. This time, it took 8 seconds. What a fast slash! I didn't even have time to use teleportation. Is this the attack speed of a nebula stage powerhouse? It really can't compare to a nebula stage or a nebula stage. After summing up his experience, Lin Jun entered the simulated reality field for the third time. This time, Lin Jun still did not manage to dodge the second slash. However, after he was mentally prepared, his initial fear of the nebula stage had completely disappeared. After calming down, Lin Jun persisted for 10 seconds. The fourth time, he still persisted for 10 seconds. The fifth time, he made a small mistake and was eliminated in 4 seconds. The sixth time, the seventh time, on the 18th time, Lin Jun persisted for 15 seconds. However, he still did not have a chance to attack his opponent. He did not even have a chance to use a mental attack. An entire day had passed. Lin Jun had spent close to 1,000,000,000 Three River dollars to play in the simulated reality field. His best attempt was to last for 22 seconds. Although he still did not have a chance to counterattack, this was already considered a significant improvement. Lin Jun was not discouraged at all. In fact, he was very happy. Only with rich battle experience could he improve faster. On the second day, Lin Jun persisted for 25 seconds. On the third day, he successfully persisted for 30 seconds. On the 10th day, Lin Jun made a historical breakthrough. He persisted for 40 seconds and fired a shot during the battle that even a nebula stage powerhouse had to dodge. What I lack now is experience. Every nebula stage powerhouse has been through countless years and countless battles. As for star power, although the gap is huge, I still have a chance to improve. As for the accumulation of experience, very few people would be like me, spending billions a day to play in the simulated reality field. This is my advantage. Chapter 485. In the blink of an eye, 50 days had passed. These 50 days were the time when Lin Jun had improved tremendously. In the beginning, he had been unable to resist. Later on, he could gradually counterattack. In these 50 days, Lin Jun was able to fight against a nebula stage expert for close to 3 minutes. During this period, Lin Jun would battle with different nebula stage beings every day. There were those who focused on strength, those who were fast, those who had strong spiritual power, those who were talented, those who attacked strangely, and even those who had doppelgangers. Fighting against various experts allowed Lin Jun to accumulate a wealth of combat experience. His greatest gain was that he had reached a relatively high level in the use of strength. When to use strength, how to use strength, and how to achieve the best results. If he had not gone through countless battles, he would not have such a deep understanding. In 50 days, Lin Jun had spent close to 100 billion in a battle that cost 1,000,003 Jiang dollars. Only people like Lin Jun, who had obtained a huge amount of wealth, could continue playing like this. If it had been an ordinary person, they would have gone bankrupt in a day. Moreover, in the process of fighting, Lin Jun's dark star space continued to grow stronger. The starfruit tree and the cloud contact vine began to grow crazily on the dark star, causing the Phanerozoic universe to progress rapidly. Soon, it left the early stage and took large strides on the path to the middle stage. Some microorganisms began to gradually appear on the planet, and tenacious plants began to embellish the planet with greenery. Especially in the area around the starfruit tree, there were already dense clusters of plants growing nearby. It looked like a deep mountain forest. The huge cloud contact vine circled around the starfruit tree. The energy crystals on it and the star crystals on the starfruit tree reflected each other, forming a beautiful spectacle. If humans were to be born on this planet, then the starfruit tree would definitely be the ultimate holy land they yearned for. Lin Jun's main body was cultivating in the simulated reality field. His clone was not idle either. Every day, it would be at the starfruit tree, cleaning up the ferocious insects and preventing them from overflowing. Although no intelligent life had been born on this planet, if the insects were allowed to fill the dark star, it was likely that no intelligent life would ever be born. Another day of fighting ended. This time, Lin Jun fought a simulated nebula stage opponent for 3 minutes and 30 seconds before he was defeated. This was already his best result so far. He had benefited from an increase in his combat strength and the continuous increase in the power of the Dark Star. Chris, can you calculate the difference in star power between me and a level 1 galactic warrior now? As Lin Jun's strength increased, so did Crazy's calculation ability. Previously, Lin Jun had asked Crazy to calculate the difference between the nebula stage and the galactic stage, but she couldn't do it. He didn't know if she could do it now. Master, I've calculated it. Chris's voice made Lin Jun, who didn't have much hope, suddenly wake up. How much more do you need? Master, let me first assume a star power value. If the star power of a person who has reached the peak of level 9 of the stellar stage without compressing the Dantian Shi is 1, then the star power of a person in the late black hole stage is 10. The difference between the two is about 10 times. Is the nebulous stage 100? Lin Jun asked. In theory, yes. However, in reality, a nebula-level powerhouse would have a star force of at least 300. The strongest of them would even have a star force of close to 1,000. That big of a difference? Lin Jun was stunned. Yes, after the nebulous stage, the black hole in the Dantian will turn into a galaxy. The star power generated is definitely not something a level 1 galactic warrior can compare to. The difference between the nebula stage and the galactic stage is at least 100 times. Moreover, in reality, to be able to advance to the nebula stage, the Dantian Chi has been highly compressed. I'm not exaggerating when I say 300 to 1,000. Has there ever been a level 1 galactic warrior who has succeeded in challenging the nebula stage? Lin Jun asked, unwilling to give up. According to my database, there has never been such a case in the Fire Kirin Empire. At most, there were those in the late black hole stage who challenged those who had just advanced to the nebula stage. There were no such low-level challenges, and those in the black hole stage still lost in the end. Lin Jun nodded, acknowledging the strength of the nebula stage. So what's my current star power? Your current star power is about 150. About 40% of it comes from the dark star, and the doppelganger star power is about the same as yours. 150. The difference is really big. Lin Jun thought about this number and said, so, even if it's the weakest level 1 galactic warrior, the difference between me and him should be more than twice. That's right. What about my data from 50 days ago? 50 days ago, the dark star had not advanced, and you had not reached the peak of the planet stage. At that time, your star power was about 105. I understand. Lin Jun let out a long breath. If he wanted to fight against a level 1 galactic warrior, his star power had to be at least 500. Only then would he have the strength to fight. Other than the dark star, which was still slowly improving, his main body had to advance to the level 1 galactic warrior. Some of the planet crystals in the starfruit tree were about to mature. When they became level 1 galactic crystals, it would be time for him to advance to the level 1 galactic warrior. Just as he was about to leave the dimensional universe and return home to rest, Chris said, Master, there's news. The war between the Fire Kirin Empire and the Demon Bug Empire has broken out. Lin Jun was stunned. War. Previously, the date of the concentration camp for those under 100 years old had been delayed because the war was about to break out. Everything had to be delayed. He did not expect that in less than half a year, the war would break out. Look at this news. The scene cut to the screen. The war had broken out in the chaotic Star River, which was the border between the Fire Kirin Empire and the Demon Bug Empire. Lin Jun did not know where the chaotic Star River was in his previous life. He had not even walked out of the Milky Way. The chaotic Star River was a huge asteroid belt with a width of 10 light years and a length of more than 1,000 light years. It was the natural boundary between the two advanced civilizations of the universe. In the Demon Bug Empire, all the enemies were basically insect race warriors. Compared to the human race, insect race warriors had stronger combat talents. These insect race warriors were like beastmen. They had strong physiques and outstanding individual strength. Other than their technological civilization being behind the Fire Kirin Empire, they were stronger than the various races of the Fire Kirin Empire in other aspects. There was a saying that within the same level, one insect race warrior could beat 3 human race warriors. This was not an exaggeration. This time, a war had broken out because of the ownership of a resource space at the border. The two countries did not give in to each other. After negotiations broke down, they finally went to war. Because the battlefield was in the chaotic Star River, there were asteroids, stars, space cracks, and space storms. Large-scale fleets could not move at all. In the end, it was still up to people to decide the outcome of the war. The Fire Kirin Empire began to call for warriors from various vassal countries to participate in the war. They also constantly sent masters to the chaotic Star River to join the war. Both sides still maintained a certain degree of restraint. In this war, there were no domain kings or world kings participating. Some of the leaders were only at the nebulous stage. Now, in the dimensional universe space, there are many reports about the chaotic Star River War. A small team of warriors from the White Dragon River Empire set up an ambush somewhere in the chaotic Star River. They killed 7 Star Stage warriors from the Beetle race and seized control of a resource planet. A Nebula Stage warrior from the Nine River region, with the help of 4 Black Hole Stage warriors, raided the Scorpio race's camp. They killed 6 of them and stole hundreds of millions of universe crystals. The native masters of the Fire Kirin Empire formed a commando team and fought head-on with the Mantis race of the Bug race on a floating island. Both sides suffered casualties. Lin Jin frowned slightly. Even the reports of victory seemed insignificant. There were not many reports of defeat. This was normal. They were worried that the morale of the people would be affected. But this also proved that the situation on the battlefield was not optimistic. The Fire Kirin Empire was likely to be at a disadvantage. Moreover, many people in the dimensional universe proposed that the training ground for the training camp for those under 100 years old be set in the chaotic Star River. Only real combat could produce talents. Fighting with the vicious Bug race would undoubtedly be the most difficult training. Those who could stand out here were true geniuses. The Fire Kirin Empire had more than 10,000 mid-level civilization universe countries under its jurisdiction. Each mid-level civilization had at least 20 qualified candidates. Together, they had more than 300,000 masters. This was definitely a large force. If they were to join the battlefield, they might be able to change the situation. Although this matter was not yet decided, Lin Jun felt that it was likely to happen. Not only would it train talents, but it would also help the country in the war. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. As for how many of these geniuses would die on the battlefield, this was not important. The vast universe did not lack geniuses. A few hundred years had passed, and another batch of geniuses had grown up. Only those who survived the great waves of elimination had the qualifications to walk to the top. Some people even suggested that the people who performed well in the camp be heavily rewarded to achieve the goal of motivation. The Fire Kirin Empire was an advanced civilization universe country. If there was really a heavy reward, one could imagine how great the reward would be. If this was the case, Lin Jun wanted to participate in the camp this time and see the outside world. This was an essential step towards the top. Unfortunately, he was ranked 21st in the Sanjiang Federation's assessment. He probably would not have the chance to participate. I don't know if I can volunteer in the future, but then I won't be able to get the generous reward from the Empire. With some regret, Lin Jun closed the dimensional universe. He asked Chris to monitor the progress of the war and news of the camp for those under 100 years old. It was said that they were currently counting the number of people in the camp. Once they finished counting, it would be about time to announce the training location of the camp. Lin Jun's attention was still on Slank, who was about to arrive. In 3 days, the planet crystals in the stellar fruit tree would mature. He wanted to see if he had the ability to fight against those in the nebula stage after advancing to the stellar stage. Chapter 486. In the distant starry sky, a huge spaceship was preparing to set off. This is a constant crystal battleship, specially built for war. It's dozens of times larger and more expensive than Lin Jun's constant crystal battleship. Not only can it fly at the speed of light, but it's also equipped with powerful firepower and trapping nets. Even the Sky River Empire's army would have to retreat when facing it. In the control room of the battleship, a warrior with a gloomy face and an eye patch was standing opposite another warrior. Lin Jun knew this warrior. It's Tianxi from the World Stone. Tianxi is now a level 1 galaxy-level master. His face is full of confidence. However, the one-eyed man standing in front of him is no worse than him. He's also a level 1 galaxy-level master. Mr. Slank, are you ready? Tianxi, don't call me Mr. Slank, am just a bastard that everyone hates. The title Mr. makes me feel disgusted. Haha, you're a straightforward person. Okay, Slank, this time there must be no mistakes. Don't worry if Slank, was a fool. I'm afraid I would have been caught and executed by the Sky River Empire's army long ago. The fact that I'm still alive today is enough to explain the situation. Tianxi nodded, but he was still a little worried. You said that you talked to your former subordinates, but did you think that your subordinates have been mentally controlled by Lin Jun? It's impossible for them to speak for you. Only Lin Jun, who controls their life and death, is worthy of their loyalty. Haha. Of course, I know this, but what I told them was that I would go to the Sun Territory on New Year's Eve. How do you think Lin Jun will react? Tianxi thought for a while. If I were Lin Jun, I would definitely take advantage of this time to practice hard, then wait until New Year's Eve to find a friend to help me, waiting for you to walk into the trap. Slank laughed. Yes, normal people would do this, but he would never expect that I would attack 4 months in advance. At this time, he shouldn't be fully prepared. That's a good plan indeed. In that case, I was right to find you. Even if you didn't look for me, Tianxi, I wouldn't have let Lin Jun go. He actually dared to take over my Black Pearl and my subordinates. This is a provocation to me. I definitely won't let him go. Besides, there's also your commission. I have to do this deal even if I don't want to. Originally, I planned to use a sublight spaceship, but with this Eternium crystal battleship you gave me, I can arrive at Sun Territory tonight. You can rest assured that as soon as I arrive, Lin Jun and his Sun Territory will be finished. Not even a chicken or a dog will be left alive. Very well, then. Mr. Slank, please set off. With that, Tianxi turned to leave the spaceship. Wait for my good news. I'll return to the Sun Territory tonight. Perhaps tomorrow morning, you will see news of the destruction of the Sun Territory in the dimensional universe. Then I'll be waiting. In a flash, Tianxi left Slank's fleet. Looking at the 12 huge spaceships setting off, Tianxi said coldly, Lin Jun, you kill my doppelganger. I must avenge this. I thought that if you could enter the concentration camp for those under 100 years old, I would deal with you there. Unfortunately, you didn't live up to my expectations. I have no choice but to give you this Eternium crystal battleship for free. Consider it as revenge for my doppelganger. Pluto. This was the outermost zone of the solar system. This planet was very far from the sun. It was even kicked out of the solar system by astronomers. They thought that it was not one of the 9 planets of the solar system. However, Lin Jun did not think so. This was one of the planets of the solar system. In the past, people could not travel into space because they thought it was too far away. However, today, Pluto was definitely not far away. On the surface of the planet, there was ice that did not melt all year round. Under the blowing of a hurricane that had reached level 15, the ice had turned into all kinds of strange shapes. Looking from Lin Jun's position, the sun was just an almost invisible light blue spot. It was not much bigger than a star. Something like sunlight had never visited this cold and barren land. The low temperature of negative 100 degrees Celsius made it so that there was no life here. However, Lin Jun's original body was a black hole beast, a mutation of the fire Qilin. He was not afraid of this kind of cold. His body was breathing lightly, but his attention was completely on the dark star space. On the central continent of the dark star, the stellar fruit tree towered into the clouds. However, it was unable to pierce through the atmosphere that was several times thicker than Earth's. His line of sight passed through the layers of branches and leaves of the stellar fruit tree and arrived at the central region. In the sky, this building that was built by an unknown champion had once again become the resting place of Lin Jun's clone. However, at this moment, his clone was in front of a cluster of star crystals, quietly waiting for it to mature. There were close to 30 planet crystals, and they were about to evolve into stellar crystals. Faint starlight sprinkled on his body. Lin Jun seemed to have become one with nature. This feeling of waiting for the flowers to bloom made Lin Jun feel somewhat excited. He was about to reach the stellar stage. In his previous life, Lin Jun had failed to break through to the meteor stage and died. At that time, if he saw someone at the comet stage or Weizhou, he would be an unreachable figure. However, in this life, he was about to reach the stellar stage. Moreover, his combat strength was unparalleled. Other stellar stage experts were like chickens and dogs in his eyes. Even the black hole beast was no match for him. His current enemy was already at the nebulous stage. What kind of concept was the nebulous stage? In the Milky Way, with a radius of 100,000 light-years, there were trillions of people. The strongest person was the Emperor, and the Emperor was at the nebulous stage. Most importantly, he had used less than 10 years to achieve all of this. Looking down at the stellar crystals that were about to mature, Lin Jun could not help but feel anxious. Whether or not he could fight against the nebulous stage would depend on the effect of this breakthrough. How could he not be anxious? However, when this anxious thought began to grow, Lin Jun suddenly realized that his mentality was unstable. No, this is absolutely not possible. It's just breaking through to the stellar stage. How can it make my heart waver? If I'm in such an impatient state, even if I break through, I'm afraid there won't be any good results. I need to calm down. Lin Jun forcibly suppressed the excited thoughts in his heart. However, he still felt that it was not enough. He simply took out the time stone from his pocket watch. The more I'm in a situation like this, the more I need to calm down. I might as well slow down the flow of time and use this opportunity to train my mind. After adding the Cosmos crystal to the pocket watch, the flow of time in the surrounding area suddenly slowed down. The flow of time was 1 to 10, and the surrounding air seemed to have condensed a little. His heart also calmed down. The breakthrough and whatnot seemed to have faded. He was not so anxious, and his mood improved. Gently holding the time stone in his hand, Lin Jun's mind power wandered back and forth. At this moment, Lin Jun's consciousness was a little absent-minded. The whistling hurricane on Pluto became viscous, like the spring breeze in a small town in Jiangnan. The wind was not cold, but had a trace of warmth. He could even see the blurry, almost invisible sun in the distant horizon. Wisps of light were quietly falling on Pluto in an imperceptible manner. The rays of light fell on the iceberg not far away, emitting a faint, colorful light. If it wasn't for his excellent vision, he wouldn't have noticed it at all. It turns out that when time slows down, everything looks so beautiful. A gust of hurricane blew over, and a piece of ice in the distance was abruptly broken and crashed into the colorful light. Lin Jun couldn't bear to see all this being destroyed. He couldn't help but raise his hand and pointed at the flying ice. "You better slow down." A miracle happened. The movement speed of the ice really slowed down at this moment, and it suddenly decreased by 10 times. The speed decreased, and the ice that lost its momentum slowly crashed into it. It didn't cause any changes and fell down. At this moment, Lin Jun's heart was shocked. He succeeded. He actually slowed down time. In the law of time, accelerating was the easiest, stopping was very difficult, and reversing time was the highest profound meaning. In the process of accelerating to stopping time, there was a deceleration process. To comprehend time stopping, one must first be able to decelerate time. Only by decelerating time, getting slower and slower, could there be a possibility of stopping time in the end. However, it wasn't that easy to comprehend time deceleration. It was already a blessing to be able to decelerate time a little for the first time. However, Lin Jun coincidentally used the power of the pocket watch and the time stone to enter this mysterious state of enlightenment. He actually mastered deceleration on his first try. Knowing how rare this opportunity was, Lin Jun didn't dare to be careless. He tried hard to maintain this feeling and let his thoughts spread. He must firmly grasp this opportunity and not let this rare opportunity be short-lived. Since it appeared, he must completely master time deceleration. I must calm my mind. I must absolutely calm my mind. Lin Jun closed his eyes and threw away all his selfish thoughts. He didn't even care about the stellar crystal that was about to mature. Lin Jun threw himself into this epiphany. The sun in the distance disappeared, and Pluto welcomed an even colder night. The wind and snow turned Lin Jun into an ice sculpture, a snowman. In the dark night sky, only the cold wind whistled. At midnight, Lin Jun's eyes that had been closed all this time opened. Divine light flickered in his eyes. He raised his head and let out a clear whistle that echoed in the night sky of Pluto. Swish! Lin Jun raised his hand, and a mature stellar crystal was plucked by him and then absorbed. It's done. Time deceleration. I actually mastered time deceleration. Then let's break through to the stellar stage in one go. Chapter 487. Lin Jun started absorbing the stellar crystal as soon as it was in his hand. Strands of stellar force flowed into Lin Jun's body through his limbs and bones, making him look like he was glowing. The mutation of the stellar fruit tree gave Lin Jun a huge piece of good news. If he relied solely on the black hole beast's ability to devour, Lin Jun would find it difficult to advance in the stellar stage. The amount of wealth he would need at that time would be astronomical. When he reached the later stages of the stellar stage, even a sector lord's wealth wouldn't be enough for him to advance by one level. Using such a huge amount of wealth to nurture a person for a week, other than the warrior himself, no one else would do so. Even a warrior would find it difficult to make a choice in such a difficult situation. Advancing one level less would mean having an endless amount of wealth. It was indeed a difficult choice. With the stellar crystal, Lin Jun would at least be able to advance into the stellar stage. The amount of money he would need to spend would be much lower. The stellar crystal's powerful stellar force made Lin Jun's dantian boil again. During this period of time, Lin Jun had already gotten used to this feeling. He liked the feeling of becoming stronger, especially when it came to the advancement of realms. The planet in his dantian started to mutate. Under the expansion of the stellar force, it started to glow and heat up. This was the process of evolving from a planet to a stellar stage. His dantian started to rise like a tidal wave. This powerful firepower surged in his dantian. The edges of his dantian expanded again. Lin Jun's aura also started to rise. Stellar force started to seep out from every pore of his body. An aura field was formed within a radius of 10 meters. The wind couldn't enter, and neither the cold nor the heat could invade. Moreover, this aura field was still rising. It was like the shock wave of an atomic bomb explosion. However, the speed of its advance was much slower. Wherever the shock wave passed, the beautiful scenery that Lin Jun saw just now was destroyed and dissipated. Rumble. Ka-ka-ka. The ice layer cracked, and the mountains collapsed. Lin Jun was a huge fireball, blooming brilliantly on Pluto. Boss Slank, we found a life form at the edge of the solar system. Life form? Where is it? On the Eternium crystal battleship, his deputy had the spaceship leave the parallel universe. This was because they knew that once they entered the solar system, there would be surveillance systems in the parallel universe, and they would be easily discovered. Only by flying at sublight speed within the solar system would they not be captured by the parallel universe. Even if the interstellar radars captured them, the railguns would not be able to lock onto the Eternity crystal battleship. This was the advantage of an advanced battleship. He thought that this was the edge of the solar system. Even if there were planets, they would be cold and uninhabited. He didn't expect that there would be life forms here. It's right there, 0. 2 stars ahead. The name of the planet is Pluto. Speed up. Let's go over and take a look. Could it be that Lin Jun also arranged some guards here? The Eternity crystal battleship began to accelerate, moving faster than the speed of light. At this speed, even the interstellar radar would have a hard time capturing them. Moreover, the people on this warship were all veteran pirates, and they were very good at avoiding radar. Even as they approached Pluto, the interstellar radar did not detect them. Boss, right there, a small red dot appeared on the spaceship's radar, and the distance between them was rapidly closing. What is this? It seems to have a very strong vitality. A scanning wave covered the area, and soon the feedback came back. Boss, There's a human there, and his vitality is rapidly increasing. It seems like a martial artist is cultivating there, and he's on the verge of a breakthrough. A martial artist is breaking through. Slank single, I emitted a cold light. This is Lin Jun's sun territory. Even if it's not Lin Jun himself, he's still an important person there. I think this should be a late-stage black hole. Whatever, fire the cannons and kill him. We don't want him to be a hindrance in the battle later. Understood. Prepare the energy cannons to fire. A cold cannon was erected on the Eternity Crystal battleship, and a mass of energy quickly gathered on it. Lock onto the target's position. Fire. Whoosh! A stream of light cut through the cold universe and blasted toward the light spot on Pluto. In his Dantian, the powerful star power finally completed the last round of expansion. A huge fireball was suspended in Lin Jun's Dantian, surrounded by the vast starry sky. The star power in this space was surging, and it had become Lin Jun's largest source of star power. He had broken through, he had advanced. After 7 to 8 years of cultivation, Lin Jun had finally advanced to the star stage. The powerful star power itself had been compressed tenfold, and this power had far exceeded that of an ordinary star stage martial artist. It even surpassed the dark star power of the Phanerozoic universe by a lot. Success! I've finally reached the star stage. It's indeed powerful. Lin Jun stretched out his hand and gently clenched his fist. Starlight splashed out from his palm like sparks. I can feel my power. Compared to when I was a level 9 planet warrior, it's definitely more than doubled. I wonder how much star power I have now. Chris, calculate my total star power. Yes, Master. Chris calculated quickly and gave Lin Jun the answer in a short while. Master, your current total star power is 330 points, which is comparable to a weaker star stage, early stage. Really? I can really compete with an early star stage, early stage? Yes, Master. Because your Dantian Chi has been compressed by 10 times, and you have the support of the Dark Star's power, and the Dark Star also has the support of the Dark Star's power. Your foundation is very solid and powerful, which is why you have the star power you have today. It can be said that your power can be considered to be blessed by heaven. That's great. With this star power, I finally have the ability to compete with a weaker star stage, early stage, early stage. Plus, I'm only a level 1 star stage. My dark star power can still advance, and my star power will still increase. Chris continued, but Master, don't be too happy. You can only compete with a level 1 star stage, early stage, early stage. Even if you advance in the future, it's almost impossible to compete with a star stage, late stage, early stage, early stage. After all, the foundation of the star stage is there. With the galaxy as the source of star power, it's definitely not something a planet can compare with. Of course, I know this. I don't ask for too much now. Being able to compete with an early star stage, early stage, early stage is enough. We'll talk about the future in the future. Lin Jun was still very happy. With such a huge amount of star power appearing in a level 1 star stage, it made him feel a sense of pride. Today's harvest was too great. Not only did he advance to the star stage that he had always dreamed of, but he also mastered time deceleration, which allowed his strength to take a big step forward. The star power rising from his body was still revolving, but Lin Jun didn't try to control it. In his opinion, this was the sun territory. No one would spy on his actions. But at this moment, his heart suddenly felt a sense of danger. Danger! When Lin Jun had this thought, his body had already reacted at the first moment. Relying on his psychic power, he moved dozens of meters to the side in less than 0.01 seconds. Boom! A huge energy beam blasted the place where Lin Jun was sitting just now. The power of this light beam was so great that it created a bottomless pit on the surface of Pluto. The entire planet was shaking. If this happened a few more times, Lin Jun suspected that this attack would blow up the small planet Pluto. Who is it? Lin Jun's lightning wings suddenly appeared behind him, and his doppelganger also flew out of the starfruit tree. Lin Jun had advanced to the star stage, and his doppelganger had also advanced to the black hole stage. It could be considered the strongest combat power below the nebula stage. Its star power was only slightly weaker than Lin Jun's main body, reaching a value of 300. Whoosh! The second energy beam fell from the sky again and blasted toward Lin Jun. But this time, Lin Jun was more prepared. Although he couldn't compare to the speed of light, he could rely on his prediction of danger to grasp a preemptive strike and easily dodge the second attack. This time, Lin Jun also saw clearly where the cannon fire was coming from. In the distant sky, an Eternity crystal battleship bigger than the Black Pearl was flying at high speed. The cannons below were still glowing with energy. That was where the cannon fire came from. Light speed spaceship, Eternity crystal battleship. Who would be so generous as to use such a powerful weapon against me? Although he didn't know who it was, Lin Jun was sure of one thing, and that was that they didn't come with good intentions. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Under the continuous bombardment, Lin Jun dodged back and forth in the air, and the fierce attacks couldn't touch him at all. This was why no matter how powerful technology was, it couldn't do anything to high-level warriors. Even a top-grade Eternity crystal battleship like this couldn't do anything to a warrior like Lin Jun. Therefore, many high-level warriors didn't fear the power of a country at all. In the spaceship's control room, Slank's face was ashen. Who is this guy? How can a Star Stage cultivator have such strength? Could this be Lin Jun's secret expert? His deputy looked for a while and suddenly shouted as if he had discovered a new continent. Boss Slank, this guy is Lin Jun. He is Lin Jun. What? He is Lin Jun. No wonder. Slank had never seen Lin Jun before. The first time he saw him, he couldn't recognize him from such a distance. After knowing that it was Lin Jun, Slank's face revealed a sinister smile. I've searched high and low for you, only to find you by chance. Lin Jun. Oh, Lin Jun, you must be afraid. So you hid on this planet with the idea of escaping when the situation turned bad. Unfortunately, you met me so quickly. Consider this your bad luck. Stop firing. Let me go and meet this Sun Overlord. The Eternity crystal battleship stopped firing, and Slank flashed out of the cabin. At this time, the Eternity crystal battleship had already arrived above Pluto and was very close to Lin Jun. Lin Jun also stopped and looked at the one-eyed man who came down from the battleship. When this person appeared, the surrounding space seemed to freeze. The old captain of the Black Pearl, Slank, Lin Jun said. Lin Jun, are you afraid? Slank smiled sinisterly. Chapter 488. Looking at the fearless Lin Jun, Slank couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha! Sure enough, the ignorant are fearless. Lin Jun, you probably don't know what kind of existence you are facing. You don't know how terrifying a nebula stage powerhouse is. Nebula stage is just one level higher than a black hole stage. Idiot! You're even more stupid than the idiots I robbed. The black hole stage is a watershed. A nebula stage powerhouse is 100 times stronger than a stellar stage powerhouse. You are just an early stellar stage powerhouse, yet you dare to challenge me. You are simply brainless. I have to say, this mission is too simple. Lin Jun, I overestimated you. Lin Jun looked at Slank, who didn't put in his eyes at all. He was communicating with Chris in his mind. Chris, can you roughly estimate Slank's star power? Master, Slank's star power is about 80 higher than yours. It is about 410. With a difference of 80 star power, I can definitely fight him. Looks like I should give this pirate leader a surprise. Lin Jun looked up at space. In the sky, the Eternal Crystal battleship was floating not far away. From Lin Jun's angle, he could even see a group of people laughing and watching the show through the battleship's window. In their opinion, the stellar stage Lin Jun didn't have the power to fight Slank at all. This would be a game of cat and mouse. This battleship was very good. It was basically the strongest battleship in the Fire Chelan Empire. Lin Jun decided to keep it. Slank looked at Lin Jun with contempt. His feet didn't touch the ground. He just walked forward in the air, step by step. Today will be the day of the Sun Territory's destruction. Lin Jun, after I kill you, I will massacre all the life planets under your jurisdiction. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not knowing what's good for you. You actually dared to accept my Black Pearl and my subordinates. You're seeking your own death. Say goodbye. As Slank said this, a dazzling light blade in his hand suddenly slashed down. Speed, strength, and space imprisonment. This saber strike was simple, and Lin Jun felt a sense of déjà vu. This sword technique was very similar to the first galactic character he met in the simulation field. The simulated reality field didn't simulate reality out of thin air. It was based on some original galactic stage characters or general characteristics, and it was slightly modified to simulate reality. Lin Jun's first opponent was a saber user. He was also a level 1 star system, and he actually looked 80% similar to Slank. Although that character was definitely not an imitation of Slank, the sword techniques used by the two of them were actually the same. Lin Jun, who had experienced such a scene thousands of times, reacted immediately. His body tilted slightly to the side, dodging the blade that seemed unavoidable to other stellar stage cultivators. His body quickly dashed forward, drawing a zigzag path in the air. Slank had never dreamed that Lin Jun would actually be able to dodge his first attack. He hurriedly sent out a second attack, but Lin Jun had once again dodged it, as if he had predicted it. Swish, swish, swish. Slank's saber continuously crisscrossed in the air. This was Slank's best saber technique. Although this saber technique wasn't rare, and there were many people who knew it, its power was completely different in the hands of a galactic stage cultivator. He actually couldn't hurt Lin Jun at all. This is impossible. Slank's eyes widened. He couldn't believe what was happening. Lin Jun seemed to know the trajectory of every attack, and he calmly dodged them. In less than a second, he had already missed his target 3,000 times. Lin Jun was walking on the edge of the saber, and he was already right in front of him. The advantage he had gained from attacking first disappeared at this moment. Slank had no choice but to brandish his saber to block Lin Jun's yin-yang spear. Lin Jun, don't think that you can match a galactic stage cultivator just because you have a better movement technique. Your star power and strength are far inferior to mine. Is that so? Then let's try it. Get down here, meteor fall. A ray of starlight streaked across the sky above Lin Jun's head and landed directly on Slank's body. The spear was a heavy weapon, and it had the ability to attack. After Lin Jun's yin-yang spear was infused with the power of a world, it had reached the peak of high-grade divine artifact and was close to becoming a supreme-grade divine artifact. Chapter 489. The pirates on the Eternity Crystal warship watched the battle with their hearts in their throats. They had originally thought that this would be a glorious journey of destruction, but they had not expected that Lin Jun would be so strong that he could fight a nebulous stage expert head-on. Only when Slank gained the upper hand did they relax a little. Facing the transformed Slank, Lin Jun did not panic. Having the upper hand did not mean that he could win. With a thought, the doppelganger that had been in the dark star space finally appeared. After the doppelganger appeared, it did not hesitate and immediately joined the battle with the edge spear. Lin Jun's main body and doppelganger joint attack had been practiced to the point of perfection. With the two people with 300 star powers working together, they immediately offset Slank's advantage. The twin spears were like a storm. No, they were fiercer and faster than a real storm, instantly turning the situation around. As expected, you have a doppelganger. Lin Jun, this must be your trump card. Slank did not panic because of the appearance of Lin Jun's doppelganger. All of this was within his expectations. Before coming here, he had already investigated Lin Jun. Furthermore, Tinsy had also told him that Lin Jun had a doppelganger that was not inferior to the main body, so he had to be careful. Slank believed that he knew his enemy well, so he was not afraid of Lin Jun's doppelganger. Although it was not a doppelganger, it still had the ability to fight two people at the same time. Moreover, Lin Jun discovered that Slank's dual-wielding skills were not inferior to his single-wielding skills. The situation that had just been turned around quickly became passive again. Ha ha ha. Lin Jun, do you think that my icy ice and raging fire dragon transformation is as simple as using fire and ice? Both of my hands have the same power. This talent is actually the same as the doppelganger technique, so your doppelganger has no advantage at all. Lin Jun's main body and doppelganger had to remain united in order to resist Slank's bold and decisive attacks. If they were even slightly separated, they would immediately be attacked by Slank's twin swords and fall into danger. It turned out that Slank had been holding back just now. Only when Lin Jun's doppelganger appeared did he reveal his true strength. Warning, warning, Master, be careful. Slank's star power has been increasing ever since he transformed. It's already close to 500 points. Chris gave Lin Jun a timely warning. No wonder it was so strenuous. I underestimated my nebula stage opponent. Lin Jun brandished his twin pistols, finding it increasingly difficult to resist. At this moment, he finally understood the true strength of the nebula stage. Because he had just broken through, he did not have the time to fight with the galactic stage cultivators in the simulated reality field. He did not expect that the first battle would be a real battle. At this time, Lin Jun had no choice but to use his own means. Immovable Mountain, Phantom Godstrike, Thunder Strike, Meteor Fall, all kinds of spear techniques were used to his heart's content. Although he was at a disadvantage, he still posed a huge threat to Slank. However, the difference in absolute strength was not something that could be made up for by some simple methods. Moreover, Slank was a nebula stage cultivator, so he also had many killer moves. As the battle progressed, Lin Jun's disadvantage became more and more obvious. When Slank's Frost Blade slashed Lin Jun's doppelganger, the battle seemed to be irreversible. Slank laughed sinisterly as he attacked fiercely, with each slash faster than the last. His attack pattern was very clear, which was to attack Lin Jun's main body. The Frost Blade technique was indeed very difficult to deal with. Lin Jun's main body was a black hole beast, a variant of the Fire Qilin. His resistance to fire was very strong, but the extreme cold made Lin Jun somewhat uncomfortable. The temperature of the ice was close to negative 200 degrees Celsius, which was dozens of degrees colder than the night of Pluto. Slank also saw that the effect of the ice was better, so he sped up the use of the cold air, making Lin Jun's battle more and more difficult. In order to help the main body, the doppelganger was hit in the waist, and the wound was not small. Looking at the situation, the pirates on the warship cheered loudly, ready to celebrate the victory of the battle. As long as Lin Jun was killed, more than half of the journey to Sun territory would be over. Although there were many people left, in front of Nebula's stage cultivator, there was no resistance at all. Looking at the increasingly arrogant Slank, Lin Jun felt that it was time for the final battle. Doppelganger armor. A layer of fiery red scales covered the doppelganger, covering the wound on the doppelganger's body. The main body and doppelganger erupted with star power at the same time, and their bodies shone with dazzling starlight. Slank, let's have a showdown. After the doppelganger armor, the main body and doppelganger's combat power increased again. Lin Jun seemed to have cut off all means of retreat, and he started to attack Slank without caring about anything else. Slank was close to 2,000 years old, and he had rich combat experience. When he saw Lin Jun's attack, he knew that Lin Jun was going to go all out. This should be the last fight. As long as he could withstand it, he would definitely win this battle. There was no problem with Slank's strategy, but Lin Jun was waiting for this moment. The main body and doppelganger attacked from the front together. The two spears, yin yang and edge, were like two coiling poisonous snakes, and the cold stars on the tip of the spears were not far from Slank's vital points. The invincible martial arts technique was activated, and its lethality multiplied. Clang, 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 clang. Slank retreated steadily, and his dual blades blocked the attacks. At this moment, his star power had increased to close to 500, and he was not afraid of Lin Jun's strong attacks. Swish! The main body and doppelganger crossed each other, and their figures swayed as if springs were installed in their bodies. At this moment, Slank felt a little dizzy. Swish, swish, swish. After a series of exchanges, Slank's figure flickered. Under the cover of the spear radiance, Lin Jun's doppelganger was already very close to Slank. Lin Jun, don't play these childish tricks. Do you think you can confuse me? Slank's dual blades suddenly sped up, and his strength as a nebula stage expert was on display at this moment. The speed of his attacks was far faster than Lin Jun's spear. No matter how Lin Jun used illusions, Slank could calmly block and dodge them. You have thousands of tricks, but I have a rule. As long as his speed was faster than Lin Jun's spear techniques and footwork would be useless. Time acceleration. The yin-yang spear suddenly sped up and stabbed towards Slank's throat at 10 times the speed. He still blocked it. Lin Jun's face instantly turned ashen. He did not expect Slank's strength to be so strong that he could block the spear with time acceleration under the cover of his staggered footwork. You actually have the ability to accelerate time. Kinsey did not lie to me, but Lin Jun, you're too inexperienced. Although my realm is far higher than yours, if I wasn't careful enough, I would have died long ago. Do you think I underestimated you? No. That was all an illusion. You want to compete with me? You can train for another 1,000 years, but I won't give you that chance. I don't believe it. Go to hell. Lin Jun roared crazily, and his doppelganger attacked again. Time acceleration, shooting star spear. Slank's face darkened. It's useless to tell you. His dual blades danced. It looked like Lin Jun had run out of tricks and was ready to end the battle. At this moment, if one looked at it from the front, they would see that the three of them were standing in a straight line. The doppelganger was in the middle, Lin Jun was behind, and Slank was in front. From a side, one would see that Lin Jun's doppelganger and his doppelganger were attacking at the same time. The doppelganger was attacking from the front, while the main body was attacking the doppelganger. From Slank's angle, he could not see the main body's attack. The doppelganger charged forward, and the shooting star spear stabbed out fiercely. Get out of my way. Slank raised his dual blades. He was ready to get rid of this troublesome doppelganger first. Pooh! A pool of blood bloomed on the doppelganger's chest. Time acceleration. Lin Jun's spear pierced through the doppelganger's chest. Using the doppelganger as a shield, he attacked Slank in such an unimaginable way. This attack was far beyond Slank's expectations. He never would have dreamed that Lin Jun would be so vicious and decisive. He actually did not care about the doppelganger's life and death to ambush him. Slank hurriedly dodged when he saw the cold light pierce through the doppelganger's chest and approach him. Although this attack was strange, it was still a bit lacking if it wanted to hit him, even with time acceleration. At this moment, he saw the doppelganger's cold smile. Mental Evil Spirit Attack. Lin Jun's Mental Evil Spirit Attack directly blasted into Slank's mind. Don't even think about slowing me down because I have two heads. One of Slank's heads was hit, but his dual-headed dragon doppelganger was controlling his body at the same time, so he could still dodge. The most unbelievable thing that changed the situation happened. The space around Slank seemed to have solidified. He saw himself slowly raising his hands, slowly moving his legs, and slowly making dodging movements. In front of him, the tip of the spear pierced through Lin Jun's doppelganger's chest and approached him at lightning speed. His opponent's speed was 10 times faster, while his opponent's speed was 10 times slower. The situation was instantly reversed. Even with his nebula stage ability, he could not dodge this ambush. The spear pierced through his throat, and blood splattered everywhere. It was not that Slank did not have a way to save his life. Even if his throat was pierced, he still had a way to save his life. Unfortunately, Lin Jun would definitely not give him this chance. The dark night sky enveloped Slank's surroundings, and countless planets appeared. Milky Way star explosion. Huge and beautiful fireworks began to explode, forcing Slank to swallow all of his follow-up moves back into his stomach. His scales were shattered, his body began to shatter, and his mind began to blur. He was really unwilling to accept this. He was a nebula stage cultivator. In history, there had never been a case of a stellar stage cultivator killing a nebula stage cultivator, but Lin Jun had done it. Slank died with his eyes wide open, but he had lost. He did not lose in terms of strength, but in terms of wisdom and strategy. He did not expect Lin Jun to show weakness and lure the enemy in. He also did not expect Lin Jun to be able to decisively attack his doppelganger. He also did not expect Lin Jun to have time to decelerate. Lin Jun watched as Slank was shattered in the air and said expressionlessly, "Slank, you're still too superstitious about your strength. In the face of absolute strength, all calculations are useless. However, when the difference in strength is not that great, wisdom is also a decisive factor. You've lived for almost 2,000 years. Actually, I'm almost there." Chapter 490. Slank died in battle. Lin Jun raised his hand and placed Slank's corpse into the Dark Star space. Slank was a Nebula Stage powerhouse and also a pirate leader. His wealth definitely wouldn't disappoint Lin Jun. The people on the Eternity Crystal battleship never imagined that Slank would be killed. After being stunned for a moment, they tried to escape, but it was already too late. Lin Jun couldn't catch up to the Lightspeed ship, but the ship hadn't started yet, so it naturally couldn't escape Lin Jun's hands. This was thanks to the pirates. One of them even opened the door, ready to flatter Slank at any time. Lin Jun took advantage of this opening and directly teleported into the ship. Most of these pirates were at the Eternity stage, and only one was at the Middle Black Hole stage. Lin Jun didn't have much trouble dealing with him. All the Star Stage pirates were directly subdued with Soul Lock. The Black Hole stage pirate Lin Jun exchanged a few moves with him. The pirate had completely lost his will to fight and was easily subdued by Lin Jun with Soul Lock. The hundreds of pirates on the ship all became Lin Jun's subordinates. These subordinates might not be much, but this Eternity Crystal battleship was too useful for Lin Jun. Although the Eternity Crystal battleship from before wasn't bad, it wasn't used for war. Its firepower and power were far inferior to this giant Eternity Crystal battleship. Such a battleship only needed a few pilots to conquer some low-level civilizations. Even if they encountered a Nebula Stage powerhouse, they wouldn't have any problems protecting themselves. This was a top battleship from a high-leveled civilization. Its price was in the trillions, and it had a crew of over 100,000. It was definitely an incomparably strong fortress in the sky. In theory, only World King level powerhouses had the possibility of subduing this Eternity Crystal battleship. The Black Hole stage pirate on the battleship was called Ma Jing. According to him, this battleship was gifted to Slank by Tianzi in order to completely eliminate Lin Jun. It seemed that Tianzi's harvests in the World Stone weren't small. He was actually able to afford such a battleship. Moreover, he was still brooding over the matter of Lin Jun killing his avatar, so he was willing to pay such a heavy price. However, Tianzi had gone for wool and come home shorn. After giving Ma Jing the identity of a knight, Lin Jun ordered the battleship to fly towards Earth. This time, the battleship was immediately discovered when it entered the range of the interstellar radar. However, after the scan revealed that it was Lin Jun, the scan ended. The person in charge of guarding the ship's side. The Lord was too powerful to have obtained such a powerful warship. There was even a single room on the battleship with a throne inside. The throne was made entirely of purple gold and was inlaid with jewels. It was extremely luxurious. Lin Jun sat on it and adjusted the seat so that he could still lie down. Leaning against it, Lin Jun shifted his consciousness to his doppelganger. His doppelganger was currently in the Dark Star space. Thanks to the Star Crown's treatment, his injuries had long since healed. Under the stellar fruit tree, the clone squatted there with 3 items in front of it. One was Slank's somewhat broken corpse. One had to admit that Slank's body was strong enough. The ice and raging fire dual-headed dragon had been blown up by Lin Jun on Skyriver Planet for half a day, but its main body was still relatively intact. The other was Slank's high-grade divine battle sword. This was also an incredible treasure. It could be divided and combined. One sword could become 2 swords. Then there was Slank's space ring. This was the key. Lin Jun was excited to receive his first spoils of war. He opened Slank's space ring and secretly prayed that this guy would not disappoint him. This was a super large space ring. The internal space was comparable to a small town. Slank had accumulated 12 sublight speed battleships over many years. Lin Jun found Slank's wealth in one of the sublight speed battleships. As a notorious pirate leader, Slank was not qualified to open an account in a bank. He was blacklisted. Without a way to open an account, Slank could only store his wealth in the space ring. This time, Lin Jun had benefited. Piles and piles of cosmos crystals and coins were placed within the battleship, almost filling up the entire battleship. Chris, calculate the value of the wealth. Chris immediately began to calculate at lightning speed. Life's calculation ability was indeed powerful. The wealth of this battleship was calculated in less than 10 minutes. Master, I've calculated. There are 28 countries' currencies here. If converted to Chilean dollars, it's 49,500 billion. There are also 180 million universe crystals here. The value of the other miscellaneous items is hard to estimate for now. This huge wealth made Lin Jun excited, but that was it. After seeing the incomparably huge universe crystal in the world stone, there were very few things that could make Lin Jun too excited. However, this wealth was real. It was really a lot. Where are the miscellaneous items? Is there anything valuable to me? Chris organized for a while. Master, there are two things that should be valuable to you. Speak. These two things should be looted by Slank. They don't belong to the Fire Chilean Empire. Instead, they came from an even more distant star system. They contain a powerful life force. One is the planet heart of vegetation. The other is the underworld elixir. That sounds interesting. Can you be more specific? The planet heart of vegetation should come from a huge planet rich in plant resources. If this thing is placed on a planet, it can make the planet more lively and lush. Lin Jun's eyes lit up when he heard this. Then I can place on a dark star and make the plants grow faster. Yes, this thing can speed up the dark star's upgrade. It's very useful to you. Lin Jun rubbed his hands excitedly. This is great. My dark star's level is lagging behind. This thing is really timely. Master, there's another type of underworld elixir. This elixir can revive some dead people or other life forms. However, it's not a true revival. Instead, it's a battle puppet with no subjective intelligence. It comes from the underworld star system. Oh, there's such a thing? Lin Jun found this bottle of underworld elixir. It was a crystal bottle filled with a black liquid. However, it was shining with a golden light. It looked dark and deep. Master, this bottle of elixir can be used 3 times. I suggest that you use it on Slank's corpse. It might give you a surprise. Okay, how do I use it? Mix a little of your blood and pour 1/3 of the elixir into it. He will become your battle puppet. Lin Jun bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood into the bottle. When the blood fell into the bottle of elixir, it immediately changed. Like boiling water, the elixir boiled for a while and turned completely golden. He moved Slank's corpse over and poured 1/3 of the elixir into it. After the elixir was poured, Slank's corpse changed. Slank's shattered body began to heal and grow in size. It looked much stronger than Slank's body from before. Those black scales turned into a faint golden color. It looked powerful and mysterious. A surge of power emanated from Slank's body. It was much stronger than before. Slank's eyes opened. Although they were open, they were not as lively as before. Slank stood up and bowed deeply to Lin Jun. Two-headed dragon, Slank greets master. Lin Jun did not speak for a long time. He carefully observed Slank in front of him. He could feel that Slank's current strength was much stronger than when he fought with him. He was almost at the level of a level 3 nebula. If Slank had this strength before, Lin Jun could only escape with his family. There was no way he could resist. Chris, what's his current star power level? Master, Slank is not in a transformed state now. His star power is about 700. If he transforms, it will definitely exceed 1,000. Why did his strength improve so much? Master, it should be because your blood reacted with his, allowing him to gain new strength. Also, the Nether Spirit has no fear and can unleash his strength to the greatest extent. However, Master, this is Slank's final strength. He will not gain any more strength. It's enough. At least for the current me, it's definitely enough. This is a powerful subordinate, even more useful than my doppelganger. He circled Slank twice and said, Slank, transform. He thought that Slank would still be the same after transforming, with only a slight change in his body. He did not expect Slank to turn into a nebula beast after transforming. A huge two-headed dragon that was hundreds of meters long hovered above the dark star space. A pair of huge wings flapped, creating a powerful airflow. One of the dragon's heads spewed flames, while the others spewed cold air. The powerful aura forced Lin Zhen's doppelganger to retreat temporarily. So, this is the combat form of a nebula beast? I didn't expect Slank to activate his combat form after spiritualizing. His strength has doubled and is comparable to a mid-stage nebula beast. Only now did Lin Zhen realize that the nebula beast transformation had so many secrets. If he could completely transform into a nebula beast, it would be the greatest increase in strength. Slank was not here to find trouble with him, but to give him a big gift. After seeing how powerful Slank was, Lin Zhen sent the Heart of Vegetation directly into the Dark Star. The Heart of Vegetation was a white crystal. The life force on it was vast and surging. After entering the Dark Star, the entire planet had changed. Life force and vitality filled every corner of the planet. Lin Zhen could even feel that the plants on the planet were constantly growing. The Dark Star and the Phanerozoic universe, under the impetus of this life force, began to evolve rapidly. If this speed continued, Lin Zhen felt that the Dark Star might even break through the Phanerozoic universe and enter the new generation within half a year. If the Dark Star can enter the new generation, it will be a huge increase in my strength. This Heart of Vegetation is really a priceless treasure. Chapter 491. Lin Zhen returned home after a fruitful journey and spent a long period of time in peace and happiness. During this period, Lin Zhen's realm was steadily increasing. He was currently at Stellar Level 1. If he wanted to level up, he could only buy metals to devour or absorb stellar crystals from the stellar fruit tree. If Lin Zhen wanted to devour more metals, he would have to buy thunder crystals. The price of these crystals was ridiculously expensive. Even if Lin Zhen had some wealth, he couldn't afford it for the time being. Even with Slank's wealth, it wasn't enough for him to level up. So Lin Zhen gave up on buying them. He had leveled up too quickly recently and needed time to settle down. Anyway, the stellar crystals in the stellar fruit tree could still support him. At least in the early stages of the stellar stage, he could level up with stellar crystals alone. The Dark Star was also leveling up quickly. The Heart of Vegetation was bursting with power. He was already in the middle stages of the Phanerozoic universe. Every day, he would focus on researching combat skills at home or enter the simulated field to fight against galactic stage cultivators. Sometimes, he would drink and chat with his friends. Sometimes, he would look at the construction in his territory. With his beautiful wife accompanying him, his days were very comfortable. Dad! Dad! Lin Ping and Lin ran all the way from the garden path to where Lin Zhen usually sat. Lin Zhen picked up her two sons and placed them on her lap. Her face was full of smiles. Why are you two the only ones here? Where's Auntie Angel? Lin Ping raised his little face. Auntie Angel and the others are accompanying Mommy and Mommy Sue to make good food for the new year. Daddy, what is the new year? New year? It means Ping, and an are 1 year older. After New Year, you'll be 3 years old. What about sister? Is she also 3 years old? She's younger than you. She'll be 2 years old. Dad, can I become a martial artist after New Year? Lin asked. Why? Is this your New Year's wish? Lin Zhen asked with a smile. That's right. We have to become warriors. We have to become powerful warriors like Daddy so that we can protect little sister in the future, the two little guys said loudly. Lin Zhen laughed heartily. His son and daughter were his joy. They were his treasures. To be able to make his family happy was Lin Zhen's greatest achievement. In a few moments, the garden was bustling with activity. Mayor Lin also staggered over. She was not yet a year old, so her steps were not very stable, but she insisted on walking by herself. She came to Lin Zhen's arms and spoke to her father in a childish voice. In front of Mayor Lin, the two little brats, Lin Ping and Lin, really acted like big brothers. They gave way to their little sister in everything and protected her very well. A burst of bell-like laughter was heard. Lin Zhen's group of beauties had arrived. And Ning was Lin Zhen's first love when he was young. At that time, She was the school belle and the #1 beauty in Bingqing. After cultivating, she became even more radiant and beautiful. Su Mingyue was the saintess of the divine sect and a global idol. She was as pure as water and gentle as beauty to the extreme. Angel and her sister were from the angel race. Ling Er was the saintess of the elf race. The appearance of these two races was originally more exquisite and beautiful than humans, not to mention the outstanding ones. The appearance of this group of beauties was simply heaven-defying. Their arrival made the garden even more lively. "Hubby," and Ning enthusiastically walked to Lin Jun's side and held his hand. "We prepared a lot of things for New Year. Look at our clothes. Do they look good?" The beauties stood together. They were wearing festive China Tang Dynasty clothes, which contrasted with their white jade-like faces. It was a dazzling sight. "They look good, very good," Lin Jun said sincerely. "We also prepared for you. You can change into them later." "Okay, tomorrow is New Year. It's rare for our family to be so united. Let's have a good New Year." It had been 4 months since the slank incident. It was almost New Year. In these 4 months, the whole family had made great progress. And Ning and Su Mingyue, with the unlimited supply of comet crystals from Lin Jun, had advanced by leaps and bounds. They had already reached the peak of the comet stage and were about to enter the satellite stage. Lin Lie and Li Qin did not have much combat ability, but they had also reached the core stage level 8. If they had Su Mingyue's aptitude, they would have probably reached the meteor stage by now. Ling Er and Angel had just advanced to the planet stage. They were definitely experts on ordinary life planets. On the contrary, Lin Jun's progress was the slowest. He had advanced from stellar stage level 1 to stellar stage level 2 and was working hard to advance to stellar stage level 3. There was no other way. His realm was relatively high. Naturally, he could not advance as quickly as low-level martial artists. This was only possible with the supply of stellar crystals. Otherwise, it would take at least a few years or even a decade to advance one level, no matter how good Lin Jun's aptitude was. With the help of Lin Jun, the children had already laid a good foundation. With such parents, the children's aptitudes were also heaven-defying. Their future achievements were limitless. Time passed until New Year's Eve. The whole family gathered together for a sumptuous feast and relaxed mood. This meal was the happiest meal for Lin Jun. Although the sisters Ling Er and Angel were not Lin Jun's wives, they had completely integrated into the family. Even Ning and Su Mingyue had intentionally or unintentionally probed Lin Jun to see if he had any plans for the future of these 3 proud daughters. Lin Jun had also asked them about their intentions. However, the girls all blushed and said that they were willing to listen to Lin Jun's arrangements. However, none of them revealed any intention of leaving. Lin Jun more or less understood their intentions. However, this kind of thing was better to let nature take its course. After the New Year's bell rang, Lin Jun was considered to be 26 years old. After his rebirth, he had already entered the 9th year. The whole family clinked glasses together. Lin Jun smiled and asked everyone to share their New Year's wishes. In the end, everyone said that they hoped that the family could be together forever and never be separated. As the head of the family, Lin Lie glanced at Lin Jun and said, "Of course, we all hope so. However, this kid doesn't spend much time at home. He only spent a little more than a year at home. We don't know where he went the rest of the time." Li Qin also complained to her son, "Although cultivation is important, son, you are someone with a family. You have parents, a wife, and children. We cannot know where you are all year round. If something happens to you, our family won't be able to survive." Lin Jun blushed with shame. He had also realized this problem. As his strength increased, he would also offend more people. The strength of his enemies would also increase. Although he was not afraid of anything, his territory was here. His family was here. He could not run away. Lin Jun also had an idea in his heart. After the Dark Star world stabilized, he planned to move his family there. However, that day was still a little far away. Although it was the Dark Star world of the Phanerozoic universe, it was still some distance away from the survival of animals. If humans wanted to live freely on the Dark Star world, the Dark Star world would have to reach the new generation. After 4 months of bitter cultivation, the Dark Star world had reached the late stage of the Phanerozoic universe with the help of the heart of nature. However, the progress was not that fast. After the Phanerozoic universe, it would be the Mesozoic era. After the Mesozoic era, it would be the new generation. This was a gradual process. When the realm of the new generation stabilized, the Dark Star world would be another new world. It would be a safe and stable new world that he could control. At that time, not to mention his family, it would not be a problem to move the entire Earth there. He hoped that day would come sooner. On the contrary, his wife understood him better. Su Minghua smiled and said to Lin Jun and Li Qin, "Dad, Mom, don't blame Lin Jun. If it were not for Lin Jun's hard work, I'm afraid we would not be able to live and work peacefully in Sky City. I believe he will have a bright future. Moreover, he will protect and arrange things well for us. Dad is the best. Dad is the best." Mayor Lin, who was awakened by the New Year's bell, said loudly. She looked at her father with pride. Okay. You have a wife and children to protect you. Your mother and I can't scold you." Although Lin Lia said this, his face was full of smiles. Bang, bang. Outside the window, fireworks exploded in the sky. Sky City was full of jubilant sounds. No matter how time passed, as a Chinese, they had never given up on the New Year's tradition. Even when the monsters attacked the city and everyone was in danger, they would still celebrate the New Year. The children were tired. His wife took them to rest. The family also returned to their rooms. Lin Jun slowly came to the window and looked at the star-like lights outside. However, he was thinking about the war between the Fire Qilin Empire and the Demon Insect Empire. The war was somewhat unfavorable for the Fire Qilin Empire. In the chaotic Star River, their people were retreating step by step. News of them being killed or defeated came from time to time. The higher-ups of the Fire Qilin Empire finally made a decision to set the training ground of the concentration camp for those under 100 years old in the chaotic Star River. The time was set to be 1 month later. After this first month, the people of the concentration camp would set off from the capital of the Fire Qilin Empire, the Qilin Sacred Planet. Tianzi had suffered such a big loss. Now, he did not have time to find trouble with him because he had to join the concentration camp. During this period of time, the media had given endless reports about the experts in the concentration camp. Lin Jun had heard this kind of news too many times. He also wanted to go to the chaotic Star River to gain experience. Unfortunately, he was not a member of the concentration camp. Maybe I should set off in a few days. Even if I'm not a member of the concentration camp, I can still participate as a volunteer. Although he was a little unwilling, Lin Jun had to go. If he continued to stay at home, it would not be of much help to improve his strength. "Master, someone in the dimensional universe is calling you. It's your good friend, Han Sha. Do you want to enter?" Han Sha. Lin Jun was stunned. Since he returned to his hometown, Han Sha had not contacted him for a long time. It seemed that he had forgotten about him. Why would he suddenly contact him today? Chapter 492. Brother Han Sha, long time no see. When Lin Jun appeared in the dimensional universe, in the room that Han Sha had booked, Han Sha was stunned. "Lin Jun, what's the matter? You look at me like I'm a ghost." Han Sha rubbed his eyes. "You actually advanced to the stellar stage, and to level 2 at that." "Oh yes, I've been training hard recently." Han Sha slapped his forehead. Which warrior doesn't train hard? Could it be that training hard can allow one to advance so quickly? This is unreasonable. How old are you? This might be fate. Why are you looking for me, Brother Han Sha? My sixth sense tells me that you're looking for me because you have good news. You don't say. There's really good news. Han Sha and Lin Jun sat down, and Han Sha said seriously, "Lin Jun, I'm officially informing you to get ready. You will represent the Galactic Beast Alliance and the Sanjiang Federation to participate in the concentration camp held by the Fire Qilin Empire." "I'm participating? Isn't Hong Bo the one who advanced from our alliance?" "Don't mention Hong Bo, that traitor. He was disobedient and has been dealt with by us." Hearing Han Sha's calm words, Lin Jun knew that Han Sha and the others must have done on purpose. Hong Bo was a little arrogant at the beginning. After he advanced, he didn't have to give Han Sha and Jerry any face, which caused the two to be dissatisfied. Moreover, they placed their hopes on Lin Jun. Since Hong Bo was so disobedient, it was reasonable to deal with him. Lin Jun even felt that they might have deliberately set a trap and found a reason to deal with Hong Bo. Of course, these things couldn't be said. Since Hong Bo was dead, Lin Jun would naturally be replaced as the 21st. Han Sha said, "Because our alliance has a spot, but Hong Bo is dead. You are ranked 21st in our alliance," and no one objected. "So, I am informing you to prepare. This time, we will represent the Fire Qilin Empire to fight the Demon Bug Empire in the Chaos Star River. This mission is not easy." Lin Jun nodded. "Don't worry. I've also studied many aspects of this battle. To tell you the truth, even if I can't enter the camp, I'll still volunteer to go to the Chaotic Star River." "Haha, I knew you couldn't stay idle. Now, I'll send you a document from the Dimensional Universe. It contains information about this war, as well as the experts in the concentration camp. When the time comes, you must be careful. Although your enemy is from the Demonic Bug Empire, the people in the concentration camp are also competitors. You must be careful of the sinister hearts of people." Lin Jun nodded and received the documents that Han Sha had sent him. "Then, that's it. Remember to come early and meet the other participants from the intermediate universe countries. Let's get to know each other. Send me a message before you come. We'll leave together in a month." "Understood. I promise I won't waste any time." Han Sha left the dimensional universe. Lin Jun copied the information and left as well. The news of the people from the concentration camp under 100 years old heading to the Chaotic Star River battlefield had spread throughout the Fire Qilin Empire and attracted a lot of attention. Those who could participate in this concentration camp were basically all geniuses. It could be said that any one of them was an outstanding figure within the same level. Because of this, the Emperor of the Fire Qilin Empire, Tian Haoyu, even announced that as long as one could complete a certain number of kills in the Chaotic Star River, the Empire would reward them handsomely. The more kills, the greater the reward, and all the goods and wealth obtained in the Chaotic Star River would belong to the fighter. The Empire wouldn't take any of it. The participant with the highest number of kills would be rewarded with an upper-grade heaven weapon. The participant with the second highest number of kills would be rewarded with a middle-grade heaven weapon. The participant with the third highest number of kills would be rewarded with a lower-grade heaven weapon. Other than the heaven weapon reward, there was also a huge amount of wealth and the title of nobility in the Fire Qilin Empire. The first reward would be a duke, the second a marquis, the third a count, the fourth a viscount, the fifth a baron, and the sixth to 10th a knight. A duke of a high-level civilization was a noble title. It was at least equal to the emperor of an intermediate-level civilization, or even higher. These generous rewards greatly ignited the enthusiasm of the people. With this sort of motivation, many participants expressed that they would definitely obtain a high ranking in the Chaotic Star River battlefield. Lin Jun looked at the information and saw that there were several particularly dazzling martial artists. One of them was even the son of a world king. The World King was a supermaster of the Fire Qilin Empire that had been famous for thousands of years. He had been in the World King realm for nearly 3,000 years and was known as the Mechanical World King. His son was called Yihua. He was 82 years old this year and was already at the nebulous stage. This person had an extremely good reputation within the Fire Qilin Empire. He was incomparably handsome and was known as the #1 genius of the Fire Qilin Empire. He was the man of countless women's dreams and was even more attractive than a prince. The imperial family had many princes, but the Mechanical World King only had this one son. If nothing unexpected happened, Yihua would definitely become a world king in the future. In addition to Yihua, there were also several disciples of the World King who were particularly popular. For example, the disciple of the Sky Fire World King, Nan Lai, was also a nebulous stage powerhouse. The disciple of the Thunder World King, Zhang Jidong, was extremely skilled in controlling thunder. There was even a powerhouse from the Sanjiang Federation. The former president of the Blue Luan Association, Feng Qingluan, was also at the nebulous stage and was known as the strongest genius in the history of the Sanjiang Federation. In addition, There were more than a dozen new nebula stage powerhouses like Tianxi. In addition to these close to 20 nebula stage powerhouses, there were 30,000 black hole stage powerhouses. As for the remaining 270,000, all of them were constant stage powerhouses. There wasn't even a line stage powerhouse. In this battlefield, in the eyes of the people, all the star stage powerhouses were cannon fodder. The black hole stage powerhouses could mix in the battlefield. The truly interesting ones were the nebula stage powerhouses. There were even people who opened bets in the major casinos to bet on who would obtain first and second place. In short, during this period of time, the attention of almost everyone in the Fire Chilin Empire was attracted to this matter. Rumble. In the midst of the Milky Way star explosion, a simulated Nebula Level 1 powerhouse fell. Lin Jun exited the simulated environment, sweating profusely. His mind was still thinking about the intense battle just now. I finally passed. After half an hour of fierce battle, I finally defeated a Nebula Level 1 powerhouse with a combination of my main body and doppelganger. This is my third victory in the simulated environment. After failing hundreds of thousands of times, I'm finally able to gradually win against a Nebula stage powerhouse. Lin Jun let out a long breath. Chris, calculate my current star power. Master, your current total star power is 410, and the dark star power accounts for 38% of it. Lin Jun nodded. Not bad. My dark star power is currently at the late stage of the Phanerozoic universe. The star power ratio is gradually increasing. After superimposing with the star power in my Dantian, it is comparable to an ordinary nebula level 1. He calculated silently in his mind. Ordinary nebula level 1s had about 500 star power. Those with more than 300 star power were considered weak, like Slank. Moreover, Lin Jun did not plan to bring Slank, the undead warrior, into the chaotic Star River this time. He wanted to leave Slank at home. Lin Jun always felt that it was not safe enough at home. If Slank was not at the late stage of the nebula level, the sun territory would be safe. As for Lin Jun himself, he had star crystals to absorb and was about to advance to level 3 of the stellar stage. His dark star was also progressing towards the Mesozoic era. There was nothing to worry about for the time being. After exiting the dimensional universe, dinner was ready at home. It had been more than half a month since the call with Han Sha. Lin Jun was ready to leave today. His family was ready to send him off. At the table, parents, children, and a table full of beauties looked at Lin Jun eagerly. Sai, isn't it good to stay at home? Why does he have to go to that chaotic Star River war? That is a battlefield. There is no guarantee of safety. Why does this child like to go to such places? Li Qin complained. Lin Jun did not say anything. Instead, it was his wife who comforted him. She was more supportive of his decision. Dad, Mom, you don't have to worry about me. Your son has always done things appropriately. Moreover, I am just a small soldier in this trip to the chaotic Star River. I will never go to a dangerous place. It's good that you understand. I heard that the people of the Demon Bug Empire are inhumane. Don't forget your identity. Don't forget that there's a big family here. Don't worry. I won't forget you. Let's eat. Children, come to Daddy. With a thought, Lin Jun used his mental strength to float the children in the air in front of him. The children also loved to play this kind of floating game, and they clapped their hands happily. His wives also looked at Lin Jun silently, watching his interaction with the children. At night, after the children went to bed, Lin Jun went to Ning's room. His two wives were waiting for him in the room. They were beautiful. Even after many years, Lin Jun still felt very impulsive when he saw their charming appearance. Lin Jun, will you be gone for a long time this time? It definitely won't be a short time. According to past experiences, wars between high-level civilizations can last for a few years or even a few decades. It might last for a few decades or even 100 years. He held his two wives in his arms. Now that the star crystals of the star fruit tree can be preserved, I have plucked all of them and left them for you. When I come back, I want you to enter the star stage. Can you do that? Su Mingwei raised her small face. As long as you come back safely, we will do anything. Lin Jun smiled and pressed his two wives under his body. After a night of passion, Lin Jun left home before dawn. Slank was left behind by Lin Jun on the top floor of Sky City to protect his home. Lin Jun boarded the Eternity Crystal battleship. He did not bring anyone with him. He let the battleship take off and fly around Earth twice. Then, he suddenly accelerated and entered the parallel universe. Chapter 493. The distance from Earth to the capital of the Fire Chelan sacred planet was more than 5 million light-years. If it weren't for the several wormholes that could shorten the distance, it would take a few decades, even if the spaceship traveled at the speed of light. Lin Jun set off from Earth and went through the Martian wormhole to reach the Aurora planet. From there, he went to the 100 Rivers planet. Then, he had to fly in the parallel universe for 10 days before reaching the next wormhole and entering the Fire Chelan Empire's star field. For Lin Jun, 10 days on the road was equivalent to 100 days. Because he had been cultivating all this time, after reaching the peak of Level 2 stellar stage, his dark star had also reached the peak of the Phanerozoic universe. In addition, Lin Jun had a major gain, which was that his mind power had reached 100% Azure. 90% was the peak of Azure, and 100% was perfection. Lin Jun didn't know what the mind power beyond Azure was, and he had never seen a warrior with a mind power beyond Azure. He needed an opportunity to break through. If he could break through the Azure mind power, he would have a huge lead among those of the same level. After the Azure mind power reached perfection, Lin Jun's Star River field also leveled up. The field power relied on the control of the mind power. After reaching Level 2, the range of the Star River field was much larger, covering a radius of 1,000 meters. Lin Jun could condense 20 planets in 1 second, increasing the power of the Star River explosion to another level. Chris, did my star power increase? Master, because you didn't make any breakthroughs in your realm, your star power increased from 410 to 420. Compared to your realm, your mind power increased more. Lin Jun nodded slightly. For 20 star power was very good. If his star power reached 500, he would be able to catch up with the average level of Level 1 stellar stage. No hurry. When the next batch of planet crystals matures, I will be able to enter the Level 3 stellar stage. By then, there will be a small improvement. The spaceship gradually slowed down, and they arrived at the wormhole leading to the Fire Chelan Empire star field. After leaving the parallel universe, the spaceship entered the wormhole. When it came out, Lin Jun was already 5 million light-years away from Earth. A scanning beam swept past Lin Jun's Eternity Crystal battleship. This is the Fire Chelan Empire star field. Men, please release the ship's defense system and accept our identity check. The military's tone was rather polite. Perhaps it was because they saw that Lin Jun's spaceship was very high-end, so they didn't dare to be too rash. Ordinary spaceships could not withstand the scanning rays, but this kind of top-grade Eternal Crystal battleship could. If Lin Jun did not activate the defense system, the enemy would not be able to detect him. Lin Jun activated the ship's defense system and scanned the ship. From the Sanjiang Federation, Sky River Empire, Lin Jun. May I ask why you are here? I'm here to join the concentration camp for those under 100 years old. Oh, please wait a moment. I'll contact them. After waiting for nearly an hour, Lin Jun was getting impatient. An hour later, the voice sounded again. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. We need to verify your identity, but because you're a late entrant, the verification took a little longer. Can I go now? No, we have a staff member here. He will issue you an identity card. You can't enter the concentration camp without an identity card. Lin Jun waited for a while, and a small spaceship flew over. After connecting with Lin Jun's spaceship, it boarded Lin Jun's battleship. This is your identification number. In the future, when you enter the concentration camp or the chaotic Star River, this number will record your information. Information about your kill count, death, and so on will all be transmitted through this number. You can now enter this number into your dimensional universe system. After saying that, the staff member sent a string of numbers to Lin Jun. Lin Jun received it and looked at it. The number is actually 300,000. 300,000? Is my number so neat? Lin Jun asked. The staff member smiled. It's not that your number is neat, It's just that there are only 300,000 people participating in the concentration camp this time. Since you're the last entrant, your number is the last one. So that's how it is. The staff member glanced at Lin Jun again. There's one more thing. Since your level is the lowest among all the contestants, it's only right that you get 300,000. This time, there was some contempt in his tone. Lin Jun's face turned cold. Are you mocking me? After saying that, a powerful psychic power enveloped the staff member. The staff member was a level 9 stellar level. Under the suppression of Lin Jun's psychic power, his breathing became rapid, and he almost couldn't breathe. He had a fear that came from the depths of his soul. If he did anything to offend Lin Jun, the other party's psychic attack would definitely kill him easily. At this time, he couldn't help but deeply regret that his mouth had been so cheap. None of these contestants from all over the empire could be underestimated. Seeing the beads of sweat rolling down the staff member's forehead, Lin Jun snorted. Is there anything else? If not, scram. Oh, please arrive at the concentration camp within 3 days. The departure date is 5 days later. If you don't arrive within 3 days, you will automatically forfeit your participation. Understood. Lin Jun waved his hand and threw the staff member out of the spaceship. The spaceship accelerated and swept into the depths of the starry sky. How terrifying. Is a level 2 stellar level contestant so strong? Is he really a country bumpkin from a beginner civilization? The staff member wiped his sweat, still feeling his body trembling. Lin Jun had never seen such a huge planet. A few hundred kilometers away from the Kirin sacred planet, he saw a dense cluster of fortress satellites and orbital cannons operating in the sky. During this period, interstellar fleets were constantly shuttling back and forth to prevent anyone who might pose a threat to the Kirin sacred planet from entering the starry sky. After passing through this defense circle, the huge planet ahead was clearly visible from a few hundred kilometers away. This is so much bigger than the sun. The huge planet of the 100 Rivers star can't even be compared to this. The communication station in the spaceship automatically received the signal. Welcome to the capital of the Fire Kirin Empire, Kirin Planet. Please don't worry. Any spaceship that comes to Kirin's sacred planet for the first time will automatically receive this video. On the screen of the console, a beautiful woman appeared and began to introduce in a gentle voice. The Kirin sacred planet has a history of more than 8 trillion years. This planet's current size was formed after countless years of transformation by countless talented martial artists. This planet's diameter is more than 50 million kilometers. In fact, it was formed by the merger of hundreds of millions of ordinary planets. Lin Jun couldn't help but be speechless when he heard this. It turned out that such a huge planet was formed by the merger of hundreds of millions of other planets. This was simply like a foolish old man moving a mountain or filling the sea. It was even more difficult than that. This planet was originally the lair of a supergalactic beast, the Fire Kirin. The Fire Kirin Empire was named after it. The Fire Kirin is also the Empire's divine guardian beast totem. Please don't do anything disrespectful to the Fire Kirin when you arrive here. Of course, Lin Jun wouldn't do anything disrespectful. His original body was a mutant of the Fire Kirin, and his clone was the Fire Kirin. It could be said that this was his second home. After that, some basic information about the Fire Kirin Empire was introduced. According to Lin Jun's identity as a contestant, the coordinates of the concentration camp were given. I wish you a happy and unforgettable time in the Fire Kirin Empire. Goodbye. After the image of the beautiful streamer disappeared, the spacecraft had just entered the atmosphere of the Kirin sacred planet. Lin Jun's landing position was near the capital city of the sacred planet. As the spacecraft descended, Lin Jun looked down from above. The capital city below was almost boundless. At the very least, as far as he could only see the southern gate of the capital city. He couldn't see where the other gates were. The concentration camp was located 100,000 kilometers east of the capital city. Master, should we go to the concentration camp or go to the capital city to take a look? Lin Jun thought for a moment. Let's go to the capital city. Since we're already here, It would be a pity if we don't take a look. We could go to the concentration camp in 3 days. The spacecraft turned around and flew to the sky above the southern gate of the capital city. Master, there are anti-flight facilities here. We have to descend. Lin Jun raised his hand and put the huge eternal crystal battleship into the dark star space. Then, the lightning wings appeared on his back, and he began to descend. The southern gate of the Kirin sacred planet was an eye-opener for Lin Jun. The metal city wall was 10,000 meters tall and over 1,000 meters thick. The wall was shining, and the thick alloy city wall gave people a feeling that it would never be destroyed. Under the anti-flight situation, the city wall was indeed almost indestructible. It also gave the capital city a strong defense. On the city wall, there was a lifelike Kirin statue that was 1,000 meters tall. Lin Jun looked at the Kirin statue and felt that it was very similar to Xiao Wan after he grew up. It was very familiar. Just as he looked up, a female voice suddenly came from behind. Where did this bumpkin come from? What are you standing at the city gate for? Move aside. Lin Jun turned around and saw a group of female knights walking over. This group of female knights was dressed in black, with a red cloak that was a divine artifact. They were all equipped with golden swords, looking valiant and heroic. They looked extremely flashy. Lin Jun was still looking there when someone pulled him aside. What are you still looking at? These are people from the Green Phoenix Association, a gang that recently rose to prominence. Be careful not to get into trouble if you block their path. Green Phoenix Association? There's also a Green Phoenix Association here? Of course. This president is very impressive. She came from the Sanjiang Federation and has the Chaos World King as her master. Moreover, she didn't rely entirely on her master. She worked hard and is a mid-level nebula expert. She's also a great beauty. Is that so? What's her name? Feng Qingwan, let me ask you, last night, we were ambushed in the middle of the night at White Phoenix Planet. More than 6,000 of our brothers were killed on the spot, and not a single one was left alive. More than 100,000 female slaves were taken away. Was this done by your Qingwan Association? Lan Yu, or look back at Feng Qingwan. Feng Qingwan slowly rode out. Standing in front of this nebula stage expert, called Zhu Hai, Feng Qingwan spoke condescendingly. Feng Qingwan's voice was very good, but her tone was as cold as ice. Yes, so what? You really dare to admit it. Fine, then let me ask you. Our Scarlet Fox and your Qingwan Association have never interfered with each other. Why did you do this? Are you planning to destroy the foundation of our Scarlet Fox? Feng Qingwan, do you want to be enemies with all the gangs of Fire Qilin? Is it because you have the Chaos World King behind you, so you can do whatever you want? Don't forget, our Scarlet Fox also has a World King behind us. Feng Qingwan's starry eyes widened. If you want a reason, then I will give you one. Since ancient times, the struggle between gangs has been nothing more than the word profit. Our Blue One Association is no exception. Your Scarlet Fox has affected our source of income, so I will strike you down. As for your revenge, I, Feng Qingwan, will take it all on. If the World King masters behind you wish to attack, my master will also take them all on. You vicious woman. Don't you feel any guilt for killing 6,000 of our innocent brothers? I have never seen such a vicious woman like you. Feng Qingwan's eyes flashed coldly. I am a vicious woman, so what do you plan to do? Humph! I knew a vicious woman like you wouldn't lower your head and admit your mistake. Since that is the case, we will avenge our dead brothers. Everyone attack. Chop these bitches to death. The thousands of martial artists surrounding them attacked at the same time. These martial artists were very strong. Most of them were at the black hole stage, and a few of them were at the peak of the star stage. Even Zhu Hai and another person were at the galaxy stage. They were well prepared. Countless attacks came from all directions, including high-tech weapons, poison weapons, mental attacks, flying daggers, and elemental attacks. Colorful lights instantly enveloped the city gate. When the surrounding people saw that the situation was not good, they had already retreated. Lin Jun also retreated. Even now, facing such a storm of attacks, he didn't dare to get close. Otherwise, he would definitely be in trouble. It was also at this time that he saw a strange scene. An incandescent flame torrent soared into the sky. The scorching temperature was unbearable. Wherever the flame passed, everything was vaporized. No matter what the opponent's attack or the person who attacked, they couldn't resist this flame torrent. There was a scream, and then it was extinguished and it was quiet again. Lin Jun knew that the incandescent flame was almost the highest level of flame. The temperature was as high as tens of thousands of degrees. Not to mention people, even most of the metal would be vaporized in an instant. The torrent of flames spun in a circle before finally returning to a small, translucent, white hand. The hand was beautiful, but the coldness of the owner was chilling. Feng Qingluan retracted her hand and looked ahead indifferently. I don't think anyone will object to my decision this time. The unicorns continued to move forward slowly. Among the thousands of martial artists who rushed out just now, only a few big and small cats hiding at the back survived. Even if they were alive, they were still trembling and struggling at death's door, not daring to make any sound. Lan Yu coldly snorted and said, "A group of people who don't know what's good for them. Is our president someone you can offend? You deserve to die." When the unicorns passed by Lin Jun, Lan Yu still remembered Lin Jun. She pointed the whip in her hand at Lin Jun. "This country bumpkin, if you didn't block the way just now, those people wouldn't have been able to catch up with us." As she said that, she seemed to have the intention to attack Lin Jun. Lin Jun's expression didn't change, but he was fully alert. Even if the other party was a gang, Lin Jun wouldn't be afraid of them. At this time, a woman beside Lan Yu suddenly exclaimed, "Lin Jun, it's you." Lin Jun felt that the voice was familiar. When he looked up, it was actually an acquaintance from the World Stone. Hong, the only remaining member of the Sanjiang Federation's Qingwan Association's Four Beauties. She was also someone who had helped him before and was saved by him in the end. "You are Feng Hong?" Feng Hong nodded and then whispered something in Feng Qingluan's ear. At this time, Feng Qingluan looked at Lin Jun for the first time. Her pair of starry eyes made Lin Jun feel as if he saw the starry sky of the universe. After looking at each other for a while, Feng Qingluan waved her hand gently to Lan Yu in front of her. "Forget it, don't bother with a small person." Lan Yu glared at Lin Jun. "You are lucky today." The herd of unicorns entered the city with the crisp sound of their hooves, leaving behind a mess. When Feng Hong left, she said to Lin Jun, "Tell me your dimensional universe number." Lin Jun hesitated for a moment, but he remembered that Feng Hong was also a participant in the concentration camp under 100 years old. The two of them might meet again in the chaotic Star River, so he told her his dimensional universe number. After Feng Hong wrote it down, she waved her hand and left with Feng Qingluan's team. At this time, the surroundings of the city gate seemed to have come alive. "So scary, my heart almost jumped out of my throat just now." Yeah, such a woman is really hard to find in this world. Whoever marries her will be in big trouble. Marry her? Are you crazy? She will never have a man who wants her in her life. Someone next to Lin Jun said, "Brother, you're lucky today. You're probably the first person who can stand here in one piece after provoking that demoness. It's all thanks to one of her subordinates who knows you." Lin Jun smiled and didn't say anything to others. Feng Qingluan was a peerless genius from the Sanjiang Federation, but he didn't expect her to be such a ruthless woman. It really surprised Lin Jun. Her fire control technique just now also made Lin Jun gasp in amazement. Compared to her ruthlessness, Lin Jun valued her strength more. Feng Qingluan will also participate in this concentration camp. With such an expert, it can be imagined how difficult it will be for Lin Jun to get a good ranking. Walking into the majestic capital, he felt the atmosphere of a high-leveled civilization. There were many bars near the South Gate. Here, one can experience the delicacies of various races from various universe countries. Lin Jun walked into the most bustling bar. In front of the door, two succubus girls bowed, revealing their snow-white cleavage. "Hello, sir. Welcome to Phantom." The lights in the room were dim, but there were many people. Lin Jun ordered over 10,000 worth of drinks at the bar and sat down. The drinks of the succubus race were indeed worthy of their reputation. It was also Lin Jun's first time drinking. Since he was here, he should enjoy it. Beep beep. Master, someone in the Dimension universe has added you as a friend. Her name is Feng Hong. Do you accept? Accept. Lin Jun also wanted to see why Feng Hong was looking for him. Hello, Lin Jun. I am Feng Hong. Where are you? I have something to talk to you about. Then let's talk in the Dimension universe. If you're still near the South Gate, I will come and find you. I need to talk face to face. I'm at Phantom Bar. Come over. The call ended in the Dimension universe. In less than 3 minutes, Feng Hong had already appeared at the entrance of the bar. Chapter 495. Hearing Feng Hong's words, Lin Jun was stunned for a moment. Then, he suddenly realized that the last piece of inheritance golden paper should be in Feng Hong's hands. Or rather, it was already in Feng Qingwan's hands. The last time he inquired about the news from the Dimensional Universe Corporation, if the Dimensional Universe Corporation wanted to help Lin Jun get the last piece of inheritance golden paper, it would require 5 billion cosmos crystals. This was an astronomical figure. It should be related to Feng Qingwan. Otherwise, Feng Hong wouldn't be worth so much money. Lin Jun originally thought that he might never get the news of this inheritance golden paper. He didn't expect that after searching high and low for it, he would find it without any effort. Feng Hong actually took the initiative to deliver it to his doorstep. Lin Jun leaned forward slightly. Miss Feng Hong, the reason why I helped you in the World Stone was to repay you for helping me. We are even now. Since you mentioned the inheritance golden paper, then let me tell you. How much are you asking for the inheritance golden paper? I will buy it. Feng Hong said seriously. Lin Jun, don't think that I am joking with you. This inheritance golden paper is what our boss wants, not me. I am not joking. Lin Jun also replied seriously. Feng Hong rolled her eyes and then stretched out a finger. 1 billion cosmos crystals, not shilling coins. Lin Jun, consider it. Lin Jun laughed. Miss Feng Hong, I'll pay 1 billion. Give me that piece of golden paper, or you can ask your boss to see if she's satisfied with this price. If she's not satisfied, we can negotiate again. Feng Hong was also shocked by Lin Jun's big spending. She didn't dare to make a decision on her own and immediately communicated with Feng Qingwan in the Dimensional Universe. A minute later, Feng Hong confidently said to Lin Jun, our boss said 10 billion cosmos crystals and she owes you a favor. Now you have nothing to say. Lin Jun frowned slightly. This Feng Qingwan was indeed a character. She didn't treat money as money at all. She didn't even blink for 10 billion cosmos crystals. However, Lin Jun would not sell the inheritance golden paper. He was only missing the last page. If he could comprehend Flash Strike, it would be a huge improvement to Lin Jun's battle prowess. How could he let go so easily? 20 billion. Your boss should agree. Feng Hong stared at Lin Jun, dumbfounded. She didn't know what was so good about the golden paper. She had also obtained it before. Wasn't it just a piece of paper that couldn't see through her? Was it worth paying such a huge price to fight for it? After communicating with each other again, Feng Qingwan did not raise the price again. The negotiation between the two people failed. I'm very sorry, Lin Jun. We didn't reach an agreement. It's all right. I believe there will be more opportunities in the future. Lin Jun thought so. It was useless to separate the golden paper in everyone's hands. Sooner or later, one side would give in, or there would be a fight. Why have you come to the Qilin's sacred planet this time? Feng Hong asked. I'm here to participate in the concentration camp for those under 100 years old. Lin Jun briefly explained the situation and told Feng Hong that he came as the last participant. Oh, so that's the case. We will set off in 2 days. Tomorrow, we will return to the concentration camp. At that time, we will be able to meet again. It feels good to be able to see people from the same hometown here. Yes, our Sanjiang Federation is such a big place, but only 20 people came here. Feng Hong seemed to have thought of something and suddenly said, Lin Jun, you should be careful of Tianxi. He has stabilized his level 1 nebula realm. Moreover, his father is the supervisor of the dimensional arena. He is an expert at the domain king level. He has strength and backing. He has long said that he wants to take revenge on you. I thought that you would be fine if you didn't participate in the battle of the chaotic Star River. Oh, Tianzi has such a powerful father. Of course, in this concentration camp, many people have backing. If they don't have any backing, it is impossible to cultivate so quickly. Just the cost of cultivation alone is enough to make the richest person in a beginner civilization universe country go bankrupt 10 times over. People like you are very rare. What about you? Aren't you worried about Tianzi? You have conflicts in the World Stone. Feng Hong, pursed her lips. He dared to do so in the Sanjiang Federation, but he definitely won't dare to here. With Boss here, he sees Boss like a mouse seeing a cat. We don't intend to let him go. Feng Hong seemed to be a little distressed when she said this. You are in the male camp. You won't be with us, and we can't protect you. What if you meet Tianzi? Lin Jun smiled and didn't answer this question. He never expected anyone to protect him. He could only rely on his own strength. Oh, that's right, you can go find Yihua. Lin Jun, as long as you find Yihua, he will definitely protect you. Yihua is a very good person. He is upright, gentle, brave, fearless, handsome. Why am I telling you this? In short, you are right to find him. He will definitely show his prowess in this battle of the chaotic Star River. Can there be such a perfect person? Lin Jun had heard of Yihua's name more than once. It seemed that he had the highest chance of winning this time, even more than Feng Qingwan, Nin Lai, and the others. That's right. Yihua is the most perfect man in the world. Although I haven't been here for long, I believe in this. Looking at Feng Hong's solemn expression, Lin Jun felt that this Yihua must be a pretty boy who knew how to charm women. After playing around in the capital for a day, Lin Jun decided to go to the camp the next day to familiarize himself with the situation. Lin Jun did not take the Eternity Crystal battleship. Instead, he got himself a small spaceship. Although this spaceship was small, its performance was very good. It could shuttle through space at sublight speed and was very agile. He took the small spaceship and arrived at the entrance of the camp. Please show me your camp number. The guards at the entrance were all at the nebula stage to ensure the safety and stability of the camp. Lin Jun reported his number, and the information was quickly verified. Number 300000, Sanjiang Federation, Lin Jun. Your location is in the 6th camp. You can go there now. Someone will receive you there. Lin Jun entered the camp and followed the instructions along the way to the 6th camp. He met many martial artists along the way. Most of them were at the stellar stage, and there were also many at the black hole stage. After arriving at the 6th camp, a staff member brought Lin Jun to his room. 5 people to a room. This is your room. Stay here for the night and prepare to leave tomorrow morning. When he entered the room, there were already 4 people inside. 3 at the stellar stage and 1 at the black hole stage. They were all humans and were studying something around a table. After Lin Jun entered, the black hole stage looked over and sized up Lin Jun. Where are you from? What's your name? Sanjiang Federation, Lin Jun. The black hole stage martial artist nodded. I'm Tony. These 3 are my companions. We're studying the map of the chaotic Star River and the characteristics of the Demon Bug Empire's warriors. Come take a look. He did not look down on Lin Jun because of his low level. This made Lin Jun feel more comfortable, so he walked over. The camp has already given us the map. Let's take a look now. Tony pointed at the map. The chaotic Star River is an extremely large interstellar meteorite belt. Its width alone reaches 100,000 light years, which is comparable to a small beginner universe country. Also, there are space cracks everywhere, and rocks are everywhere. The speed of light spaceships are unable to lock onto the coordinates within the parallel universe, so the speed of light spaceships are useless. Once we get there, we'll have to fight against the demonic insect empire. We'll have to fight for every habitable planet and resource planet. When the time comes, we'll have to fight against the demonic insect empire. We need to know our enemy. Lin Jun nodded slightly. Tony's words were reasonable. However, before introducing the Demon Bug Empire's warriors, I'd like to remind everyone that it's best not to provoke our companions, especially those with powerful backgrounds. At this time, a stellar stage martial artist said, "We're all companions. Why would there be any disputes?" "Third brother," Don't you think you're being childish? Yes, we're companions, but we're also competitors. You should know that everything in the Chaos Star River belongs to whoever obtains it. For example, a resource planet with a mithril mine. Do you want it? If another person wants it too, how do you think it should be resolved? The martial artist did not speak. It was true. A resource planet was too valuable. In the universe, some planets were almost entirely filled with ores, and their exact value could not be estimated. If such a planet was within the Empire, it would definitely belong to the country. However, in the Chaotic Star River, where no one cared about anything, it belonged to whoever got it, as long as they had the ability to take the ores away. I'm mainly talking about a few people. For example, the Heavenly Fire Realm King's disciple Namlai and the Thunder Realm King's disciple Zhang Jidong. Don't provoke people like them. They're not people you can afford to provoke. They might even bring disaster to you and your family. There are also some disciples and family members of the Domain King, such as Nancy, Luo Jihuan, and Tianxi. They're also not people we can afford to provoke. Everyone should hide far away. Oh, right, I almost forgot the most important one. Feng Qinghuan. This woman is a gang leader. The Qinghuan gang's momentum in the Fire Qilin Empire is very fierce. With the Chaos World King, who is a top existence among the World King powerhouses, no one dares to provoke them. Their business is also getting bigger and bigger, opening casinos, mining, mercenaries, and so on. Especially Feng Qinghuan, this woman is too strong. She doesn't leave anyone alive and kills people like flies. Whoever provokes her will be in big trouble. No one can save her. The others also nodded. Linzai also agreed. 2 days ago, he had seen Feng Qinghuan's power and means. She was indeed a strange woman who killed decisively. A martial artist said, "What about Yihua?" Yihua is the son of the Mechanical Realm King. Isn't he the strongest? Yihua is indeed strong, but his reputation is very good. He doesn't have any bad records. He should be fine. However, we can't take the initiative to provoke him. Otherwise, he won't even need to do anything. He'll probably be killed by a group of women who admire him. The black hole martial artist waved his hand and said, "As long as everyone remembers not to provoke those who shouldn't be provoked, it'll be fine. As long as we can survive in the Chaotic Star River battlefield, everyone's harvest will definitely be huge." Our main enemy is still the martial artists of the Devil Insect Empire. Come, let's take a look at their strongest fighting race, the Mantis race. Chapter 496. 6 squads lined up neatly in a massive plaza of the camp. 60 battleships were ready to set off, each carrying 5,000 people. They could transport all 300,000 people to the Chaos Star River battlefield. The Fire Qilin Empire placed great importance on this expedition. The Emperor, Tian Haoyu, personally came to cheer everyone on. Lin Zhun stood in a corner, watching the high-spirited Emperor on the large screen. Tian Haoyu looked young, about the same age as Lin Zhun and the others. But everyone knew that Tian Haoyu had been a world king for 5,000 years. The Fire Qilin Empire had many world kings, but none of them could surpass the Emperor. Tian Haoyu was the #1 master of the Fire Qilin Empire. My people, my warriors. Tian Haoyu didn't need any amplification equipment. His voice clearly echoed in everyone's ears. Our Fire Qilin Empire has been established for many years. We fought in the ancient war, 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 and survived in the cracks. The Chaos Star River is our border. It is the natural divide between us and the Demon Insect Empire. But the Demon Insect Empire has not given up on us. If the Chaos Star River is opened, we will face the invasion of countless demon insects. Warriors, what should we do? Fight! 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 Under the lead of some people, the crowd let out thunderous cheers. Very good. We will beat back those demon insects. Warriors, everything in the Chaos Star River is yours. I also have the Empire's title and huge rewards waiting for you. As long as you can win, the Empire will not mistreat anyone. Now, please prepare to board the battleships and head to the Chaos Star River battlefield. All the martial artists began to board the battleships. Lin Jun was on the last battleship. This battleship was a semi-eternal crystal, but it could still accelerate to the speed of light. From afar, the first battleship attracted the most attention. Lin Jun could even hear people shouting Yuhua's name. Tony came to Lin Jun's side and said, "Don't look. Those people aren't from the same world as us. They're aiming for the title of Duke. We're just cannon fodder. Lin Jun, you have to be careful. It's best if you don't act alone. I'll take care of you." Lin Jun smiled. "I don't want to compete with him. Surviving in the chaotic Star River is the most important thing. It's good that you understand this. No matter how much wealth you have, it's useless if you lose your life. Let's go." After boarding the battleship rose into the sky and accelerated into the parallel universe amidst the sound of drums, sending them off. "Everyone, let's take a break. Even if we travel through wormholes and parallel universes, it will still take us nearly a month to reach the Astral River." Lin Jun scanned the battleship. In this battleship, there was a nebula stage expert called Qin Fei. He was the prince of a mid-level civilization, and his father was the domain monarch. Many people were circling around Qin Fei, hoping to obtain his protection in the chaotic Star River. Other than him, there were 700 to 800 people in the black hole stage. The rest were all in the stellar stage. Lin Jun had seen the lowest level, 6 stellar stage. He was probably the only person in the entire camp below 100 years old who was a level 2 stellar stage. However, Lin Jun wasn't in a hurry. Everyone had nothing to do in this month except cultivate. 1 month was 10 months for Lin Jun. He easily advanced to level 3 stellar stage and even had the possibility of advancing to level 4 stellar stage. Crazy. What's the level of my star power here? Star power was one of the standards Lin Jun used to measure his opponent's strength. He could roughly sense it from their aura, but it wasn't as accurate as an artificial intelligence. According to Lin Jun's estimation, he should be about the same as Qin Fei, while the others were much weaker than him. Crazy's calculations lasted for 10 minutes before she gave a result. "Master, Qin Fei's star power is definitely above yours. It should be between 600 and 700. Among the others, 2 of them are close to 300. They are both in the advanced black hole stage." Lin Jun was shocked. He thought that apart from the galaxy stage, there was a huge gap between him and the black hole stage. He didn't expect there to be so many hidden dragons and crouching tigers here. The outstanding ones in the advanced black hole stage were close to the average galaxy stage. Lin Jun was also shocked by Qin Fei's 600 star power. His own star power was only at 430. Such strength was probably not enough in the chaotic Star River. With this in mind, Lin Jun closed his eyes. He had to improve during this 1-month journey. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Among a group of sliding meteorites, a few figures were jumping rapidly. Every jump was at least a few thousand to tens of thousands of meters. They were as fast as ghosts, and the meteorites couldn't hurt them at all. "Quick, quick, quick! Let's get out of here quickly. The devil insect martial artists are catching up. Big brother, I really can't run anymore. Why don't you guys retreat first? I'll cover you. If this continues, no one will be able to escape." A martial artist's body was already stained with blood. There was a huge gash in his abdomen, and his organs were about to spill out. He could only seal it with his star power. There were 2 martial artists beside him pulling him. Whenever he couldn't run anymore, they would pull him along. "Lao San, don't say such things. The bright corridor is not far ahead. We'll be safe there. I'm afraid I can't hold on until the bright corridor. The enemy is catching up. Hold on a little longer. I've heard that the Empire's reinforcements are coming here. They're all geniuses in the concentration camp below, 100 years old. They should be here in 2 days. If we're lucky enough, we might meet some of them. Then we'll be saved. Big brother, you don't have to comfort me. Even if we meet them, can they save us? The 3 of us are all in the black hole stage, and we've all ended up like this. Do you think we'll be lucky enough to meet reinforcements in the galactic stage?" This Lao San was obviously very pessimistic. He felt that he couldn't escape this no matter what. Big brother and second brother still pulled him along to escape. This kind of camaraderie was rare among martial artists. Hiss! There was a screech from behind. It was the sound of a bug tribe warrior sending a message. Hearing this sound meant that they had been caught up. A group of devil insect warriors with extremely powerful legs, jumping ability, and flying speed quickly caught up with them. Ha 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 ha. Little bastards from the Fire Cheelan Empire, stop struggling. No one who has been targeted by us locust warriors has ever successfully escaped. Moreover, you're carrying an injured person. Surrender without resistance. Tell us the coordinates of the resource planet you've found, and we may spare your lives and transform you into half-bug tribe warriors. Otherwise, when we catch you, we'll have your flesh as an accompaniment to wine. Lao San, don't look back. The bright corridor is just ahead. Got it. We're running. About a few thousand kilometers ahead was the border of the Fire Cheelan Empire, the Bright Corridor. Once they entered the Bright Corridor, they would no longer belong to the chaotic Star River. Their chances of escaping would greatly increase. Escaping was a gamble. They were betting that the enemy wouldn't dare to rush into the Bright Corridor to pursue them. Attention, everyone. We're approaching the Bright Corridor. Everyone, get ready to disembark. Everyone in the spaceship stood up and stretched their muscles after not moving for a month. I'll inform everyone here that the Bright Corridor is an important area for us to enter the chaotic Star River. It's almost the only way. This is a broken space corridor. It's surrounded by dense space turbulence. It's the fastest way to enter the chaotic Star River. If you take another route, you'll have to take a detour of at least 10,000 light years. This is almost insurmountable for the chaotic Star River that can't enter the parallel universe. Therefore, everyone must remember the importance of this corridor. Everyone disembarked from the spaceship. The spaceships in front had already arrived, and everyone had entered the chaotic Star River through the Bright Corridor. Lin Jun and the others were the last batch. When a spaceship left the parallel universe, they noticed the endless asteroid belt in front of them. This was a vast star field. It was impossible to calculate its boundaries. The chaotic Star River was a famous place. Not only was it the battlefield between the Fire Cheelan Empire and the Devil Bug Empire, but it was also an interstellar garbage dump. The chaotic Star River ran through 4 to 5 high-leveled universe countries. There were more than 10,000 mid-leveled universe countries along its coasts. Countless garbage was thrown into the chaotic Star River. There were countless trash planets here, as well as many resource planets that were covered by trash. There were even some interstellar pirates, fugitives, and so on. When they had nowhere to hide, they would come to the chaotic Star River, a place that no one cared about, and struggle at death's door. Because there was no order, there was no way to develop it. Therefore, it became an abandoned treasure land. And the Bright Corridor was the gateway for the Fire Cheelan Empire to enter the chaotic Star River. In fact, the Fire Cheelan Empire and the Devil Bug Empire had fought countless wars in the chaotic Star River. However, everyone had a tacit bottom line, which was to not enter the other party's gateway. The scale of the war was controlled within the chaotic Star River. Not only did the Fire Cheelan Empire have a gateway, but the Devil Bug Empire also had a passage called the Dark Corridor. Their people had never entered the Bright Corridor, and the Fire Cheelan Empire's people had never entered the Dark Corridor. If that place was really occupied, it would be a matter of life and death for a high-leveled universe country. It meant that an all-out war could break out. Domain Monarch-level experts were forbidden from participating in a war of this level. Nebula Stage experts were considered the peak combat power. This was also a rule. Lin Jun walked behind the crowd and took a deep breath of fresh air. This was a vast battlefield. Countless opportunities were waiting for him. Over the past month, Lin Jun had been practicing hard without sleep and rest. He had made another breakthrough and reached the peak of level, 3-star level. He was just a step away from advancing to the mid-level star level. His star power had also risen to more than 480 points and was about to reach the 500-point mark. This level of strength was already comparable to that of an ordinary nebula-grade entity. Chapter 498. The tunnel beneath their feet was very long and curved like a small path. Even large spaceships would not be able to pass through it. The warriors distanced themselves from each other and began to fly along the tunnel. Tony, Lin Jun, and the other 3 warriors were still together at the back of the group. I heard that this light tunnel was formed after a wormhole and a spatial rift intersected and deteriorated. It has been here forever. Is that right, Boss Tony? I think so. That's what I heard too. Tis TSK. This is really a dangerous place. If you want to go to our empire within tens of thousands of light years, you have to go through this tunnel. Look, this tunnel is less than 100 meters in diameter. If there's an unparalleled powerhouse guarding it, even if the demon bug empire attacked with tens of millions of people, they would not be able to break through. That's true, but haven't you heard? Our empire and the demon bug empire both forbid domain monarch powerhouses from participating in the war. The main reason is this tunnel. The tunnel is not particularly stable and cannot withstand the power of a star sector stage powerhouse. Therefore, those who use the tunnel cannot exceed the nebulous stage. This is also why we have not started an all-out war with the demon bug empire for so many years. Tony spoke as if he was giving a lecture. Even if an unparalleled powerhouse is guarding this tunnel, the highest he can be is a nebula level 9 at most. I think it is impossible for someone of the same level to guard this tunnel and stop thousands of troops. Furthermore, the demon bug empire's combat power is stronger than ours. The warriors did not refute him. It was just a joke. If one person could guard the tunnel, then the demon bug empire would not be a concern. Looking out from the tunnel, the surrounding rocks were scattered everywhere, and energy elements were rampant. It was indeed not a place for people to stay. After flying for a full 20 minutes, they reached the end of the light tunnel. In the dark, starry sky, densely packed meteorite belts filled their line of sight. Occasionally, a meteorite would collide with another meteorite due to gravity and explode violently. However, Lin Jun and the others did not see anyone. Where's everyone? Don't we have 300,000 people? Why are there not many people in our line of sight? A warrior asked doubtfully. There's no need to look for them. Everyone is already spread out. Although 300,000 people isn't a small number, if you scatter them into the chaotic Star River, you won't even be able to see a splash. If you really want to pay attention, you can check in the dimensional universe. You can see the number of demon bug warriors killed by each participant. The 5 of us are the last few. Where do we go next? Tony said, I've already checked. There should be a high possibility of a resource planet in the northeast. Let's go there and take a look. The others did not have any objections, but Lin Jun did not feel that that direction was the right choice. Indeed, that direction was widely believed to be a place with many resource stars, but how could others not think of it? If the small team went over, they probably wouldn't be able to compete at all. Let's go. The few of them flew into the air with Tony at the front. Traveling through the flowing meteorite river was dangerous, but those who could participate in the concentration camp were all geniuses. They did not care about this. After walking for a while, Lin Jun suddenly stopped. I feel like someone is coming. Could it be a warrior from the demon bug empire? Lin Jun, you still don't understand the chaotic Star River. This place is close to the light corridor. There shouldn't be any demon bug warriors who are stupid enough to come here. Our army just arrived. Unless those demon bug warriors are tired of living, they should be our companions. Tony did not care at all. He called for Lin Jun to leave quickly. However, Lin Jun still did not move. His mental power was at the peak of the azure level. It was higher than everyone present. He had sharp senses. There was definitely someone approaching quickly. Judging by the speed, it should not be his companions from the concentration camp. Seeing that Lin Jun was still dawdling and refusing to leave, Tony was a little unhappy. Lin Jun, what are you doing? If you're left alone at this rate, we won't be able to provide you with shelter. The others were also a little unhappy. In their opinion, Lin Jun was a burden. He was previously a level 2 stellar warrior. Although he had broken through to level 3 recently, it did not prove anything. He was just on the verge of a breakthrough at level 90. He was also the weakest in the team. Lin Jun did not care about them. He pulled out the Yin-Yang spear and looked at the dark, starry sky ahead. Whoosh! Whoosh! A few figures were rushing over quickly. There are really people? Tony was stunned. He did not expect Lin Jun's senses to be so sharp. There were really people rushing over. Judging by their speed, it seemed more like they were running for their lives. They were definitely not his companions. Be alert. Everyone be alert. Tony shouted loudly. The few of them opened up some distance. Are they the fire Cheelant's men? Save us. 2 cultivators carried 1 cultivator, and the 3 of them ran for their lives. When they saw Lin Jun and the others, they immediately saw hope, and their stumbling footsteps quickened. Behind them, hundreds of martial artists from the demonic bug empire shrouded them like a black cloud. They had dark red wings on their backs and thick armor on their bodies. They had sharp claws on their hands and only revealed their eyes and huge fangs. These people swept through the starry sky, destroying everything around them along the way. Even the meteors were smashed into pieces. Rather than calling them humans, it was better to call them locusts in human form. Locusts are the warriors with the most numbers in the demonic bug empire. They're not particularly strong individually, but they always move in groups. They're extremely difficult to deal with. When you encounter a locust, even if you are stronger, you will basically be devoured by them. Retreat. Retreat quickly. If you stay, you will definitely become food for the locusts. Tony was the first to turn and run. The other stellar martial artists followed suit. Lin Jun, what are you doing there? Waiting for death? Forget it. You can do whatever you want. Let's go. The 3 martial artists who were running for their lives finally saw someone. The little bit of hope that had just been ignited was extinguished. They could not help but curse. Bastard, are you still human? Leaving us in the lurch. F***CK. If I survive, I'll never let you go. You are heartless and unjust. Don't blame us for telling the demonic bug empire your secret. Leaving a level 3 stellar level cannon fodder behind. Are you planning to send him to his death? Lin Jun stood there with his spear. He looked at the group of martial artists from the locusts and secretly thought to himself. When he came here, he had never thought of living a mediocre life. He wanted an upper-grade celestial artifact and a noble title in the empire. This group of martial artists from the locusts were not strong. He could use them as practice. Seeing that the 3 martial artists were about to give up and run for their lives, Lin Jun raised his hand, and a huge gravitational force shrouded them. I'm still here waiting for rescue. How can you give up? Huff. The 3 martial artists were exhausted and could not resist Lin Jun's gravitational force. They were instantly pulled over and left behind the locust warriors behind them. Ignoring the stunned martial artists, Lin Jun swung the yin-yang spear in his hand and charged into the group of martial artists from the demonic bug empire. Lin Jun did not even need to use his armor to deal with an ordinary level 9 stellar level. He swung the yin-yang spear up and down, killing at least 1 locust warrior with every thrust. Puff, puff, puff. A series of screams stunned the locust warriors who did not take Lin Jun seriously. The locust warriors are not strong individually. They win by numbers and fight in groups. But don't forget, in the face of absolute strength, numbers are not an advantage at all. Lin Jun's astral power was close to 500. He was not on the same level as these locust warriors. The more he killed, the faster he became. For the 5 locust warriors fell with every thrust of a spear. This Fire Kirin warrior is so strong. Everyone, use battle charge. The locust warriors in the black hole stage shouted. All of them began to move into formation. Teams of 10 were like rows of diving fighter jets. They rushed toward Lin Jun in batches. This was the locust warriors' group combat style. They attacked in a circular manner. Many martial artists had fallen under this style of fighting. Be careful. The 3 martial artists had forgotten to run for their lives. They shouted for Lin Jun to be careful. The 3 of them in the black hole stage had been defeated by this kind of combined attack. Seeing the other party charging over in batches, Lin Jun sneered coldly as a thought flashed through his mind. Galaxy Field. The surrounding starry sky changed and covered most of the locust warriors. Dozens of planets quickly formed and went to meet the first batch of locust warriors. Galaxy explosion. Explode. Rumble. A powerful explosion exploded in the starry sky. This batch of locust warriors was the unlucky ones. They were blown to smithereens by the galaxy explosion. The second batch attack. This is a field warrior. But his galaxy explosion requires the condensation of stellar power. It takes time to connect them. If he is even slightly exhausted, it will be his time to die. The Locust Warriors in the black hole stage yelled at the top of their lungs. The second batch of Locust Warriors rushed forward. Lin Jun's mind power moved, and 20 planets appeared again. This was the power of the Azure Peak. Within a second, 20 galaxy explosions appeared. After another series of explosions, the second batch of 10 Locust Warriors was sacrificed. The third batch, the fourth batch, 20 batches of Locust Warriors rushed forward one after another. They were brave, but meaningless under the galaxy explosion. Of the 200 Locust Warriors and the ones Lin Jun had killed earlier, there were only 20 or 30 of them left. The Locust Warriors, who were known to be fearless, were frightened. This stellar level 3 human in front of them was too strange. His mind power was unbelievably strong. He could use galaxy explosions continuously without breaking a sweat. And they were running out of people. Seeing that the Locust Warriors were showing signs of escaping, Lin Jun's doppelganger appeared in the starry sky behind them. Kill! The doppelganger roared and poured down a storm of spears. Lin Jun's real body also teleported over. The two of them flashed like ghosts and went on a killing spree. A minute later, the two of them thrust their spears and pierced through the leader of the Locust Warriors. All 300 Locust Warriors were annihilated. Chapter 499. The three martial artists watched from the beginning until Lin Jun killed the last black hole stage Locust Warrior. Only then did they regain their senses. Oh my god, I can't believe my eyes. Is this guy still a level 3 stellar warrior? Did he hide his true strength when he was in the nebula stage? Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? Unknowingly, Lin Jun's image had risen to the level of a nebula stage cultivator in their minds. After killing the Locust Warriors, Lin Jun stood there for a long time without moving. This was because he felt a strong desire to devour his avatar. It was like a starving man who saw a table full of delicious food and could not control his desire to eat. This feeling must have originated from Shaoan, the galactic beast. In the past, Shaoan would eat whenever it saw food, especially if it was food with energy. These Locust Warriors were all in the stellar stage. There was even one in the black hole stage. Their bodies were rich in nutrients and definitely contained a lot of energy. At first, Lin Jun even thought that Shaoan was about to awaken. However, when he checked carefully, there were no signs of Shaoan awakening. It was purely his instinctive reaction. Could it be that my galactic beast gene is finally awakening? Lin Jun had seen Slank's ultimate form after evolution. He could completely transform into a galactic beast, but he showed no signs of evolution. Until today, when he saw the corpses of the demon bug warriors, his galactic beast gene had truly awakened. I can clearly see the energy contained in these corpses. If I use my natural devouring ability, I can only absorb 1% of the energy. If I want to truly absorb it, I'll have to eat their flesh. If I eat these half-human, half-bug things raw, it'll be a little. Lin Jun hesitated for a moment. Then, he waved his hand and put the corpses into the dark star space. His avatar followed suit. He did not control his avatar and let it devour the corpses based on its evolved instinct. At least this would make him feel better and not waste any energy. After his avatar started eating in the dark star, Lin Jun looked at the three martial artists who had escaped. You're safe now. One of the martial artists thanked Lin Jun. Many thanks to this brother for saving us. Your strength really makes the three of us gasp in amazement. How should I address you, brother? Lin Jun. Brother Lin Jun, we are just ordinary people. We don't know how to thank you. How about this? We will give you all of our wealth as a token of our appreciation. Lin Jun waved his hand. Don't be like this. I didn't save you for money. We are all warriors of the Fire Chilan Empire. Of course, we can't just watch you get slaughtered by the people of the Demon Insect Empire. Seeing that Lin Jun did not want money, the martial artist thanked him profusely. This place is already very close to the light corridor. People from the demonic insect empire usually don't come too close. A leading late-stage black hole warrior said, It's all because we discovered a resource planet. They didn't know the exact coordinates, so they chased after us. We shouldn't have exposed the ores. Oh, what kind of ore? Lin Jun asked. The martial artist fumbled around in his interspatial ring and took out a piece of ore. This is it. It's a thunder crystal ore. The ore was blue, and there were sparkling lights inside. It was really a thunder crystal ore. Lin Jun squinted his eyes. He could use stellar crystals to level up now, but the power of the heart of nature was gradually weakening. The speed at which the stellar fruit tree produced stellar crystals had slowed down. He was about to enter the middle stage of the stellar star realm. His needs were greater, and his advancement was slower. Normally, it would take at least a few years to advance to a level 9 stellar star. Finding the thunder crystal had become a top priority. He did not expect to find it just as he arrived. Can you tell me the coordinates of this resource planet? Lin Jun asked. The few martial artists looked at each other and nodded their heads. The martial artist continued. Actually, we don't remember the coordinates clearly. We only know the rough coordinates. There is a garbage processing plant about 1,000 stars away from here. We found it when we went there to look for valuable waste. However, we did not have time to remember the coordinates before we encountered the people from the demon bugs. I only remember that the surface of the planet was filled with trash. There were many scrap spaceships. We had to dig deep to find the ore. Lin Jun was stunned and felt a little regretful. It seemed that it was not realistic to find this resource planet immediately. It might take some effort. One of the 3 martial artists was seriously injured and urgently needed treatment. After they finished talking, they left Lin Jun's dimensional universe number and hurriedly left. Lin Jun did not ask them to stay. Not everyone wanted to stay in the chaotic Star River. After learning that there was a resource planet in the garbage processing plant, Lin Jun had a target. He began to move forward slowly, following the rough coordinates provided by the other party. What? Not only is Lin Jun not dead, but he's also ranked first. Tony and the others looked at the ranking of the concentration camps in the dimensional universe in disbelief. They thought that Lin Jun had overestimated himself and stayed behind, and would definitely be eaten by the Zerg warriors. They did not expect that not only was he not dead, but he had also killed 301 of the Zerg warriors in one fell swoop. Don't tell me we've run into a bunch of fake insectoids? How could 300 people not be able to defeat a level 3 stellar warrior? Tony and the others could not figure it out. In the ranking of the concentration camps in the dimensional universe, Lin Jun was ranked first with 301 points. The second place was Yi Hua, the son of the mechanical king from the Qilin sacred planet. Yi Hua was a level 7 stellar warrior. He had been nurtured by his father since he was young. Not only was his realm high, but he had also awakened the bloodline of the supergalactic beast, the Golden Dragon. It could be said that Yi Hua had entered the chaotic Star River to aim for first place. He was also the first to enter the chaotic Star River. Just a moment ago, Yi Hua was still ranked first. He had killed 69 Zerg warriors and was ahead of Feng Qingwan, who was in second place by more than 20. But in the blink of an eye, he had been surpassed, and by a large margin. Lin Jun, a nobody, had actually leapt to a kill count of 301 go. The sword in his hand paused for a moment, then suddenly sped up. A warrior who had just found a demon race beetle was killed by Yi Hua's sword. Lin Jun, level 3 stellar warrior. Oh, he's actually from the Sanjiang Federation. He's from the same place as her. What an interesting young man. Yi Hua continued to advance into the depths of the starry sky. There was a hint of coldness on his handsome face, and his deep eyes dimmed a little. Feng Qingwan put down the Qing Feng sword in her hand and listened to Feng Hong's narration. You're saying that Lin Jun, who rejected our deal, is now ranked first? There can't be a mistake, right? There can't be a mistake, Mississippi. It's that Lin Jun. This fellow performed very well in the World Stone. His true strength is definitely not as simple as it appears on the surface. In the World Stone, Tinsy had advanced to the star system level, but he couldn't do anything to him. He still managed to escape safely. Now that his strength has improved, it's not strange that he can do such a thing. Feng Qingwan's ice-cold expression didn't change. She only nodded slightly. That's right. The Sanjiang Federation has another talent. I hope he won't be our enemy. Miss Lin Jun. Which corner did this guy pop out from? I've never heard of such a person before. Skyfire Realm King's disciple, Nam Lai, angrily swung the sword in his hand. He was originally ranked 3rd, but he suddenly dropped to 4th. How could he not be angry? Young master, don't worry. I'll help you check. I found it. Lin Jun is from the Sanjiang Federation. Sanjiang Federation? He came from the same place as that tigress? What's his realm? Level 3, stellar level. Bah, he must have gotten lucky. Otherwise, how could a level 3 stellar level trash kill 300 Zerg soldiers? He better not let me meet him. Otherwise, I'll let him know what it means to live a life worse than death. There was also Zhang Jidong. This level 4 stellar level expert was also very depressed. His ranking dropped from 4th to 5th, which made him feel a great sense of crisis. If he didn't enter the top 5, he wouldn't even be able to obtain the title of Baron. He originally wanted to fight for the first place. How would he accept this? It's fine to lose to Yi Hua and Feng Qingwan, but how can I lose to a level 3 stellar level rookie? It seems that in this battle of the Chaotic Star River, not only do I have to kill the enemy, I also have to kill my own people. In addition to these top disciples of the Realm King, there was another person who paid the most attention. This person was Tianci. Tianci's eyes were cold. Lin Jun, you're really lucky. The galactic pirates I found couldn't kill you. I thought I'd let you live for a few more years, but you insisted on coming to the Chaotic Star River. Don't blame me. With me here, you can forget about leaving the Chaotic Star River. I don't believe that a mere level 3 stellar level like you can overturn the heavens. Almost all the contestants noticed Lin Jun. They were surprised that he could achieve such results at such a low realm. Moreover, within the Empire, the name Lin Jun appeared in people's sight for the first time. He came from a universe country called Sky River in the Sanjiang Federation. He was a small feudal lord in this universe country. His strength wasn't outstanding, but his performance was outstanding. However, most people believe that Lin Jun must have run into some stroke of good luck. For instance, he encountered a group of poisoned, injured, or fainted demon insect martial artists. Then, he casually killed off these dying martial artists and temporarily became number 1. However, this battle of the Chaotic Star River wasn't a 100-meter sprint. It was a protracted battle. A momentary success didn't mean anything. In the end, it still depended on strength. Chapter 500. Gaga, look at what this is. I found a little sheep, a little fellow from the fire Cheelin. At your level, you should be coaxing your children at home. How dare you come to the Chaotic Star River? Let me think, should I steam you later? Or braise you? On a small planet with a diameter of less than 100 meters, Lin Jun met 2 beetle warriors from the Devil Bug Empire. One was a level 9 stellar warrior, and the other was in the initial stage of the Black Hole realm. The beetle warriors had stronger combat power than the Locust warriors. The thick armor on their bodies could offset most of the attacks, so they were fearless. I want to know, how far is it from here to the waste treatment plant? Lin Jun ignored the threats of the 2 beetle warriors and asked for directions. Is there something wrong with your head, little guy? Instead of thinking about how to escape, you're asking for directions from our great devil bug warrior. Are you an idiot? Don't talk nonsense with him. Kill him, and we'll split him in half. 2 beetle warriors pounced on him. Swoosh! Lin Jun struck at lightning speed and pierced through the head of the star-level beetle. With a wave of his hand, he knocked the Black Hole Realm Beetle Warrior to the ground. Lin Jun didn't need to use much strength to deal with martial artists of this level now. The Black Hole Realm Beetle Warrior still struggled. Lin Jun stepped on it firmly, and then attacked its mind with Mind Shock. Solok, Azure Mind power shrouded and suppressed it forcefully. However, the process of Soul Lock was not smooth. The Beetle Warriors weren't humans. They belonged to the half-human, half-insect race. Their mind power wasn't developed enough, so they couldn't use Mind Shock. It was difficult for them to be controlled. With Lin Jun's peak Azure Mind power and 100% mind power, it was extremely difficult for him to soul lock. It took almost an hour. If not for Lin Jun's mind shock, which completely destroyed the opponent's soul defense, it wouldn't have been possible. After soul lock succeeded, Lin Jun sat on the ground in exhaustion. His head was aching. This isn't something a human could do. It's not a soul lock bug race warrior anymore. If he couldn't get some information from the bug race warrior, Lin Jun would have suffered a great loss. Master, no matter what you want to know, I will definitely answer. The black hole stage insectoid stood there respectfully, but the fluctuations in its soul were unstable, as if it could collapse at any moment. Lin Jun knew that soul lock was fatal to the insectoids. It was very likely that this insectoid warrior would die again. At this time, Lin Jun had to maintain a mental connection with this insectoid. Time was of the essence, and Lin Jun could not even open the dimensional universe's recording system. He hurriedly asked, "What's your name? Where did he come from? Tell me what you know about the situation in the astral river, including the insectoids." "Master, my name is Constantine Shirley Cataquence Ismail Frendicino Aberdeen." Constantine Shirley Cataquence Ismail Frendicino. Wait. You don't have to say your name. Just say something else. You're a black hole stage expert. You should know a lot of secrets about the insectoids. Lin Jun felt a headache coming. He really didn't need to know the name of the insectoids. "Yes, Master. The insectoids are preparing to completely occupy the astral river this time. For this purpose, we have set up 7 mother nests on the 7 main planets of the astral river. Every insectoid warrior below the galactic stage is actually bred by the mother nests. Low-level insectoids need less energy. High-level insectoids need more energy. As long as the mother nests are not destroyed, we will be able to breed an endless stream of insectoid warriors. You Fire Chelan's people will only decrease as you fight, so you have no chance of winning the war." Hearing this, Lin Jun was shocked. "What did you say? Mother nests?" "Yes, the mother nests are the foundation of the insectoids. Every mother nest is precious. There are currently 7 in the astral river. They are the mantis mother nest, the scorpion mother nest, the beetle mother nest, the locust mother nest, the centipede mother nest, the spider mother nest, and the bumblebee mother nest. They are led by 7 galactic stage insectoid commanders and other galactic stage insectoid generals. A total of 108 people. 7 galactic stage insectoid commanders and 108 galactic stage insectoid generals." Lin Jun was shocked. There were only a dozen or so fire Chelans. Yes, a total of 115 people. With these people, the Fire Chelan's people are no match. This time, we even slowed down the pace of our attack to wait for your arrival, so that we can completely destroy this wave of Fire Chelan's geniuses. The more Lin Jun listened, the more shocked he became. The insectoids were not a simple-minded race. They actually knew how to use tactics. This mother nest was too powerful. It could produce an endless stream of insectoid warriors. Although according to this insectoid, it couldn't produce galactic stage insectoids, it was terrifying enough. Destroy the mother nest. Otherwise, we'll lose for sure. Our numbers are decreasing, and their numbers are increasing. There's no way we can win. Master, there's another place in the Chaos Star River. It's called the Floating Island. The 7 main planets of the Chaos Star River revolve around it. There's an ancient stone tablet on the floating island that records ancient secret techniques. If you want to read the stone tablet, you'll have to collect a type of blue cold stone. The more, the better. Stone tablet? Do you know what's recorded on it? The insectoid warrior was about to speak when he suddenly screamed. His head directly exploded. When the insectoids were controlled for too long, such a thing would happen. Their brains would automatically die. Looking at the dead insectoids, Lin Jun felt a little regretful. With a wave of his hand, the 2 insectoid corpses were stored in the dark star space. Within the dark star space, Lin Jun's clone had already undergone some subtle changes. After devouring hundreds of insectoids, the Fire Chelan's bloodline in the clone's body had further awakened. The fiery red scales on his body were dazzling, and the color of his hair had also begun to change. When he activated his armor form, there were even a few bone spikes on his shoulders. This was the embryonic form of the Fire Cheelan's combat form. Although his astral power did not increase, the strength of his physical body had increased. The clone's combat power had also increased, and it was almost surpassing the main body. I don't need to worry about the clone for now. My main problem now is not to find the insectoid mother nest. With 108 nebula stage experts, going there would only be suicide. I should go to the garbage treatment plant first and find a resource planet. There's also the cold stone. Although I don't know what it's like, it's still better to observe it. However, with the demonic insectoid empire scheming, I'm afraid the other people in the concentration camp will be in danger. Lin Jun wanted to release the news in the dimensional universe, but when he logged into the dimensional universe to take a look, he realized that the Zergs could not be mentally controlled at all. If not for Lin Jun's extremely strong mental power and the evil spirit, he would not have been able to control the insectoid in such a short time. If such a news were to be released, not only would no one believe it, but he would also be cursed to death. After all, Lin Jun did not have any images of the dimensional universe. Forget it. Since I dare to come to the chaotic Star River, I should be mentally prepared for death. Only those who can survive in such an environment have the qualifications to move forward. Lin Jun made up his mind. He did not care about anything else and continued in the direction of the garbage treatment plant. Lin Jun's rise seemed to be short-lived. Ever since he killed 301 insectoids, Lin Jun had fallen into silence. Extra, extra. Please look at the latest battle report from the chaotic Star River. Yi Hua charged into the dragon pool alone, killed 900 insectoids in a row, and took back the first place on the kill list. The huge title was extremely eye-catching in the dimensional universe's forums. Yi Hua alone with a sword, the insectoid corpses under his feet, coupled with the scene in the starry sky, could be used as a promotional poster for an idol drama. Yi Hua's feat caused the people of the Fire Cheelan Empire to cheer. It had to be said that his popularity in the Fire Cheelan Empire was really high. He was practically a national idol, the model of a perfect man. Lin Jun had once taken the first place, which made many people who supported Yi Hua extremely unhappy. Now that Yi Hua had made a strong comeback and taken back the first place, countless people were overjoyed. Apart from Yi Hua, the other experts also began to show their strength. Feng Qingwan, Nan Lai, Zhang Zhidong, and the others, these nebula stage experts began to attack the leaderboard, and their kill counts kept rising. The four of them formed the first group, and their kill counts quickly passed the 1,000 mark. Nebula stage experts like Tianxi formed the second group, and their kill counts were also approaching the 1,000 mark. Lin Jun fell into the third group, and was about the same as some late-stage black hole stage experts. Moreover, his ranking gradually fell, and his kill count did not change at all after 303. Gradually, people began to stop paying attention to Lin Jun, and were more concerned about when the chaotic Star River War would have a huge breakthrough. Although the Fire Cheelan Empire had also suffered losses, the losses were very small, almost negligible. It seemed that in front of the powerful concentrated camp geniuses, the insectoid warriors could not withstand a single blow, and victory was only a matter of time. Young Master Tianxi, this is the locator you asked for. I brought it to you. Tianxi took the astrolabe from his subordinate, and a smile appeared on his face. On it was the ID of every participant, and the distance was clearly marked. That's great. With this, I'll be able to know the position of every contestant. If anyone threatens my position, I can eliminate them at any time. Of course, the person I want to eliminate the most is still Lin Jun. Young Master, Lin Jun's number is 300,000. You only need to find his number and location, and he can't run away. Is there anyone else who has this thing? Tianxi asked. There should be a few others. Now, in order to compete for the first place, everyone has done their best. Perhaps there will be internal strife among the participants. Internal strife is inevitable. I've already contacted a few nebula stage experts, and there will be a big show. Tianxi observed for a while on the locator. Found it. Lin Jun is at the garbage treatment plant. What is he doing there? I don't know, but since we found him, we can't let him go. Put out a bounty for me, and announced Lin Jun's coordinates. Whoever kills Lin Jun will be rewarded with 10 billion cosmos crystals. Hearing this number, Tianxi's subordinates were scared silly, wondering if they should go after Lin Jun. Chapter 501. Hearing Tianxi's order, the underling said, "Young master, if you post the bounty like this, Lin Jun will be able to see it too. He will definitely be on guard." "It's fine. I can add a block on the bounty post. As long as I add Lin Jun's dimensional universe number, he won't be able to see this post. This is what my mercenary friend taught me. Then it's foolproof. Lin Jun might not even know how he died." Haha. Even if he knows, what can he do? 10 billion universe crystals is enough for anyone to have the idea of killing him. He doesn't dare to trust anyone. Anyone can give him a fatal blow at any time, whether it's the insect race or the human race. Lin Jun offending me, Tianxi, will be the biggest mistake in your life. Lin Jun originally thought that the garbage treatment plant would be a stinky place, but he didn't expect it to be such a scene. Countless broken spaceships were covered in moss and were piled up randomly. Some broken satellites, orbital cannons, and even abandoned fortresses were piled up like a mountain. Other than these mechanical things, there were too many other objects. For example, plants, broken meteorites, broken astral tools, sacred tools, and so on. Countless things were in a mess and covered the entire surface of the planet. This is the border of many high-level universe countries. Countless galaxies' garbage was thrown here, forming a unique garbage planet. There are even resource planets that are completely covered by garbage. I wonder where the Thunder Crystal planet that the insect race mentioned is. Let's look for it. Lin Jun's idea was simple. As long as he used his spiritual power to penetrate through the garbage, he would be able to see the bottom of the planet. It would be clear whether it was a resource planet or not. His spiritual power dropped by 100 meters, 500 meters, 1,000 meters. It's still a garbage layer. Oh my God, how many years has this garbage been piled up here? I can't even see the bottom. Too much metal garbage has corroded, making it extremely difficult for my spiritual power to move forward. Originally, I could see up to 10,000 meters, but I can't go any further than 1,000 meters here. Lin Jun tried to change a few places, but failed. He could only give up on this trick and return to the surface to start digging. Lin Jun used the shovel on the yin-yang spear and dug out a metal plate on the ground. He was very strong and didn't expend any effort to dig. A box of expired medicine. Trash. Spoiled inferior wine. Trash. A fragment of a high-grade astral tool armor has no value to me. A woman's... Ugh. There are still people who use this thing? What is this? After Lin Jun dug a few dozen meters, he found a diamond-shaped blue stone. Holding it in his hand, he felt a trace of coldness. Lin Jun covered it with his spiritual force. He felt that this thing seemed to be able to be absorbed. He tried it, and a blue light entered his body. His eyes seemed to have some changes. I know. This is the cold stone that the insectoid warrior mentioned. It's a necessity for going to Sky Island to see the stone tablets. Lin Jun knew that everyone would want to go to Levitating Island in the end. This kind of cold stone was definitely a hot commodity. He didn't think that he was the only one who knew of Lung Shi's secret. The Chaotic Star River battlefield had existed for so many years, and countless people had come here before. It was impossible for the World King Juniors to not know of it. With a goal to look for, Lin Jun also had motivation. He began to concentrate on rummaging through the garbage dump. A bounty of 10 billion cosmos crystals for killing Lin Jun. Seems like this star stage, Brad, isn't simple. But I'll take this deal. The coordinates are very close to me. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Isn't the coordinates the garbage disposal plant? Tianxi really dare to bet. Let's go. Asterisk, 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 kill Lin Jun. The coordinates are 600 star power away from mine. I don't know if I can catch up. But for 10 billion cosmos crystals, I have to give up everything. Let's go. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. A human is worth so much money. Brothers, follow me. Don't worry about the others. The key is to kill this Lin Jun. A group of insectoid warriors from the Big Yellow Bee race flew towards the garbage disposal plant. Anyone who noticed Tianxi's announcement, as long as they weren't far from the garbage disposal plant, started to move. 10 billion cosmos crystals wasn't something that anyone could casually obtain. Only Tianxi, who had also obtained a huge harvest from the World Stone, had such an amount. Lin Jun had obtained close to 50 billion cosmos crystals from the World Stone. Tianxi led a large group of people to collect cosmos crystals and similarly obtained close to 30 billion cosmos crystals. In order to avenge the death of his clone, he had to get rid of Lin Jun, even if he had to use up all his wealth. This was a fortune that was enough to make people go crazy. It was worth it to betray one's family and friends. Moreover, Lin Jun looked very weak. Although he had obtained first place for a short period of time, no one put Lin Jun in their eyes. Even the insectoids started to move. Countless people came from all directions towards this part of the starry sky. As they moved forward at full speed, they were all praying for others to slow down. Wrong. This planet isn't a resource planet. Lin Jun held a lungshur in his hand. He had a rough idea of what a lungshur was. It was condensed from the energy of crystals and should be more common on a resource planet. In this ordinary garbage dump, he had only found 3 lungshur after a few hours. As far as the eye could see, there were other planets in the distant universe. This garbage dump had hundreds of small planets. This place is too big. Let's search one by one. Lin Jun stood up. Suddenly, he heard a delicate moan coming from the front. It seemed like a woman was injured. He followed the sound and walked over. At a turn in the spaceship, a woman wearing the Green Phoenix Association's uniform was tied up by a vine-like plant. At the top of the vine, there was a huge mouth that was open. It seemed like it was about to swallow this woman. Quick, save me. There are man-eating vines here. Man-eating vines and man-eating flowers were similar. They were both mutated plants. However, such a huge man-eating vine was rare. It could actually bind a female martial artist in the initial stage of the black hole realm. The woman's face was charming. Although she was in a sorry state, she didn't lose her elegance. Her white clothes wrapped around her exquisite body. She looked delicate and pitiful. Lin Jun walked over and came to the woman's side. Do you need help? Yes, please help me. That vine wants to eat me. Her voice was seductive and seductive. Men couldn't help but want to protect her. Lin Jun raised his hand. His 7-star golden blade slashed a few times in the air and cut the vine into several pieces. Thank you, little brother. The woman's legs seemed to have gone numb. Her body fell forward and directly into Lin Jun's arms. She leaned her head on Lin Jun's shoulder. At an angle that Lin Jun couldn't see, a cold light flashed in the woman's eyes. A cold dagger appeared silently in her palm and went straight for Lin Jun's back. Crack! A crisp sound of bone breaking was heard. The woman only felt her vision turn black. She felt pain in her neck. She screamed and fell down. You can actually ignore me. Lin Jun looked down at the woman with cold eyes. A black hole realm expert can be tied up by a vine. Do you think I'm stupid? Or do you think you're so beautiful that you can easily seduce a man? Unfortunately, when I saw that you were from Qingwan Association, I was more cautious of you. Your performance failed. He raised his finger, and a ray of golden energy shot through the woman's forehead. Just as Lin Jun said, after seeing Feng Qingwan's ruthless style, Lin Jun was more careful of this gang. The woman's seduction technique was good, but couldn't charm Lin Jun. Just as he killed this woman, a small flying ship in the distance emitted a buzzing sound and quickly flew over. The flying ship landed and a few people came down. It was Tony and the rest. Brother Lin Jun, what a coincidence. Why are you here? It is indeed a coincidence. I thought I got separated from you guys. Lin Jun smiled. He didn't want to leave with Tony and the rest, but he didn't expect to meet them again. What's wrong with this woman? I don't know what happened. She wanted to plot against me here, but I killed her. Tony gave Lin Jun a thumbs up. I knew you wouldn't get into trouble so easily. I asked you to leave with me, but you defeated 300 Zergs alone. Brother, are you hiding your strength? Lin Jun laughed. Who doesn't have a trump card? Don't you think so? That's right. At our level of cultivation, we can't survive without some trump cards. Tony said, and the rest of them chatted with Lin Jun casually. After a few steps, Tony suddenly stopped and pulled Lin Jun's arm. "Brother, be careful. Someone is coming." His pulling was very skillful. It seemed unintentional, but stopped Lin Jun from making a move. Lin Jun followed his words and looked into the sky. Suddenly, something happened behind him. The three stellar stage martial artists pulled hard, and a few light nets suddenly bound Lin Jun's hands and feet. Tony, what are you trying to do?" Lin Jun struggled with all his might, but Tony sneered and held onto Lin Jun tightly. "Ha ha! What are you doing, Lin Jun? Stop struggling. This light net is made by the silk of the giant silkworm, galactic beast. You can't escape it without the strength of a stellar stage martial artist. You can't teleport either. You don't need to know too much. You're redundant in the chaotic Star River now. Why don't you contribute to us brothers?" Before he finished, Tony pulled out his sword with his other hand and slashed. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Screams came from behind. The three stellar stage martial artists were dead. Tony knew something had happened. He didn't even have time to look back. He swung his sword faster. Bang! Lin Jun raised his hand and grabbed his wrist. "How did you escape from the light net? Don't you know?" "Of course, it's because I have the strength of a stellar stage martial artist." "Go to hell, Tony." Lin Jun was very angry. He had once treated them as friends. He didn't expect them to plot against him. "Sorry." Spiritual evil spirit attack. The attack didn't hold back at all. It directly smashed Tony's spiritual sea, making him experience what it meant to die in fear. The doppelganger behind him silently dragged all the corpses into the dark star space as if they had never been there. Chapter 502. Master, I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Something is definitely wrong. If there's nothing out of the ordinary, there wouldn't be people trying to assassinate me one after another. Moreover, they came from different places. There should be news from the dimensional universe, but I can't see it. There is such a possibility. For some targeted posts, the person who posted them can specifically block a certain person. This situation is very likely to be the case. Seems like I can't stay in this place any longer. I have to change places. Lin Jun took out a small spaceship, rose into the air, and flew towards the starry sky. Just as he rose up, a huge centipede battleship flew over from afar. It's a Zerg battleship. The Zerg battleship was different from the human battleship. It was also like a giant beast. Even the Zerg got the news. Seems like the people who want to kill me are willing to pay a lot. Lin Jun piloted the small spaceship. This junkyard was filled with space debris. The Zerg's large battleship did not have an advantage and was quickly shaken off by Lin Jun. After flying for 3 hours, the Zerg's battleship could no longer be seen. Lin Jun landed on a trash planet. There shouldn't be a problem this time. My position must have been exposed. Now that I have flown for 3 hours, I don't believe they can still find me. There was a lot of trash on the ground. Lin Jun immediately began to dig. As he dug down, he used his spiritual power to investigate. After working for less than an hour, before Lung Sure could be seen, another battleship flew over from afar. This time, it was not the Zerg's battleship, but the Fire Chelan Empire's battleship. Lin Jun stood on the ground and frowned slightly. If this battleship was still coming to kill him, then this matter would be really troublesome. The battleship stopped. A figure flashed, and a man in green appeared in the air. A nebula stage expert. Lin Jun knew this person. This person was called Sun Hao. His father was the emperor of a mid-level civilization. He could be said to be a prince, nebula stage 2. Currently, on the entire kill list, Sun Hao was ranked 10th. He was a top expert. Lin Jun, I didn't expect you to still be alive. Seems like this prince came this time. Who sent you to kill me? What a stupid boy. How could anyone answer this kind of question? You only need to know that the person who killed you is called Sun Hao. I can give you 30 seconds to inform your relatives. They are welcome to avenge you. Lin Jun snorted and took 2 steps forward. According to Chris's analysis, Sun Hao's star power had already reached 800, which was much higher than Lin Jun's. In the face of such an opponent, Lin Jun was no match for him. He needed to escape. But he couldn't escape like this. He couldn't escape. He must first beat down Sun Hao's arrogance. After taking 2 steps, Lin Jun stomped his feet fiercely, and his body went straight to Sun Hao like a cannonball. Armor transformation. He transformed into an armor in midair, and black scales covered his entire body. The yin-yang spear drove the airflow, increasing his speed by 10 times. The lightning wings also spread out, pushing Lin Jun's speed to the limit. At this moment, under the effect of 10 times acceleration, Lin Jun's speed was approaching sublight speed. Phantom God Strike. It took Lin Jun less than a second to do all this, and he was already in front of Sun Hao. Invincible. In an instant, a long hole was torn in space, and energy turbulence raged. Facing Lin Jun, Sun Hao actually had a feeling that he couldn't resist. He originally thought that victory was in his grasp, but now he knew that he was wrong. No wonder Tianxi was willing to offer 10 billion cosmos crystals to kill this level 3 stellar level small fry. It turned out that this person was simply pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger. Even if this person's star power was inferior to his, the gap wouldn't be particularly big. Moreover, he had many means and was definitely a strong opponent. Sun Hao's weapon was a stick, and he immediately waved the long stick to block. Due to his previous carelessness, Sun Hao missed the opportunity. Lin Jun's rush wasn't so easy to resist. Even he was sent flying by Lin Jun's lifetime of power. His shoulder was even poked by the tip of the spear, and blood spurted out. As soon as Lin Jun's momentum stopped, his clone immediately appeared out of thin air and took over from the back. After the clone came out, it transformed into armor. The effect of the armor transformation was much more ferocious than the main body. The whole person was like a giant starry sky beast, bringing along a flaming airflow as he swooped down. Edge spear. Invincible. Clang. Before Sun Hao's body could stop, he encountered a second impact. Boom. His whole body flew out directly and crashed heavily into a damaged interstellar battleship behind him. The main body took advantage of the clone's impact to take a breath, and once again erupted with star power, accelerated, and charged. Sun Hao waved the long stick to block again, and blood was already flowing out from the corner of his mouth. The damaged battleship behind him was smashed into pieces, and Lin Jun's spear tip was almost pointing at Sun Hao's throat. The clone's fourth impact continued to relay the main body. This time, the power of the Dark Star erupted completely. The main body didn't even take a breath behind him. Instead, he directly used gravity to envelop Sun Hao, as if to pull him to the tip of the clone's spear. This scene didn't seem like Sun Hao wanted to kill Lin Jun. Instead, it seemed like Lin Jun didn't want to let Sun Hao go and must kill him. Sun Hao was finally afraid. Was this stellar stage still a stellar stage? His killing technique was wide open, and his momentum was like a rainbow. He had already suffered internal and external injuries. Moreover, this person's main body and clone attacked together with tacit understanding. Such an attack made him somewhat unable to withstand, especially when the main body used gravity to envelop him. Sun Hao felt danger. The clone rushed over with starlight shining all over his body. This was clearly going to self-destruct. The more noble a person's identity was, the more valuable their life was. Sun Hao thought that he was a prince and a level 2 galactic super expert. His life was much more valuable than Lin Jun's. Lin Jun dying 100 times wasn't worth as much as a strand of his hair, let alone a clone. Right now, the only way was to temporarily take a step back and not fight to the death. It wouldn't be too late to find trouble with him after he had calmed down. Sun Hao made up his mind. With a loud roar, he broke free from Lin Jun's gravity and flew backward directly. The clone sped up, but his speed was even faster. He must shake off the clone. Lin Jun's main body took this opportunity to board the small spaceship once again. He drove the spaceship through the air and found an opportunity to use gravity again, directly pulling the clone back. Sun Hao retreated frantically. Suddenly, he saw Lin Jun's spaceship coming over and taking the clone away. He immediately knew that he had been tricked. Lin Jun didn't want to fight to the death with him at all. Everything he did was for the sake of this opportunity to escape. Sun Hao was so angry that his face was flushed with blood. However, No matter how fast his main body flew, he couldn't catch up to the spaceship. By the time he boarded the spaceship, Lin Jun's small spaceship had completely disappeared. Damn bastard. Do you think you can escape like this? The concentration camp's GPS has been in the hands of every galactic stage. Your identity number has been recorded in the dimensional universe system. It's impossible to get rid of it. As long as you are still in the chaotic Star River, you will always be under my surveillance. I don't believe you can escape. Sun Hao piloted the spaceship, took out the GPS, and began to search for Lin Jun's traces. Although the GPS could find Lin Jun's small spaceship was very fast. Furthermore, he did not need to calculate the direction he was going in. He had to chase while looking, so it was inevitable that his speed would be slower. Although he had Lin Jun's location, the distance between them was getting further and further. Master, Sun Hao's spaceship has been chasing us. He seems to be able to find your position and follow you all the way. Lin Jun took a few deep breaths. Just now, the combined attack of his main body and clone was already the strongest attack he could send out. However, it didn't cause any real damage to Sun Hao. Lin Jun knew that he was still no match for a galactic stage level 2. Therefore, he could only escape. However, he also understood that his position was exposed. It seemed that someone could lock onto his position. No matter how he ran, as long as he stopped, someone would eventually catch up to him. It seems that the other party has a way to lock onto my position. As for who wants to kill me, needless to say, it must be that despicable Tianzi. Lin Jun pondered for a moment. Now that he had figured out the facts, he had to think of a way to deal with it. This was the chaotic Star River, and the terrain was complicated. Those who ran would always be faster than those who chased. If he didn't stop and kept running around in the starry sky, no one would be able to catch him. However, that would require a lot of energy blocks. Fortunately, Lin Jun had a lot of reserves in his dark star space, enough to support this small spaceship for a few decades. However, Lin Jun needed to cultivate and find resource planets to find cold stones. He couldn't run forever. Got it. After thinking for a while, Lin Jun's eyes suddenly lit up. The other party should be chasing after his serial number. In that case, he would let his main body start wandering in the starry sky. The matter of finding resource planets would be left to his doppelganger. Lin Jun didn't believe that the people chasing after him would continue chasing forever. When they gave up, it would be time for him to go to a resource planet. When they passed by a large meteorite, Lin Jun secretly sent his doppelganger down. The doppelganger moved forward secretly and continued to search for trash planets and resource planets. Chris reminded him again, Master, there are already 7 battleships in the radar range. There are humans and Zergs. Their target is us. All right, since these people are so willing to chase after me, I'll accompany them to go around in circles in the chaotic Star River. The spaceship accelerated and left. As long as it didn't stop, it would be almost impossible to catch up with Lin Jun in the chaotic Star River. The doppelganger stayed on the meteorite without moving, as if it had become one with the meteorite. Spaceships passed by one after another, but they didn't find the doppelganger. Only when all the spaceships left did the doppelganger stand up again. You guys can slowly chase after me. I have to find a resource planet as soon as possible. Only by improving my strength can I establish a foothold in the chaotic Star River. Chapter 503. The army chasing Lin Jun could be said to have gone through a painful journey. According to later statistics, there were a total of 300,000 people chasing Lin Jun in the chaotic Star River for the sake of 10 billion cosmos crystals. Among them, there were close to 100,000 warriors from the Fire Qilin Empire, and the remaining 200,000 were warriors from the Bug Clan. So many people were chasing him, but Lin Jun was as cunning as a loach. He weaved in and out of the chaotic Star River, using the geographical advantage to drive his small flying ship and escape everywhere. This was the bad thing about the chaotic Star River. As long as you had a top-notch small flying ship at sublight speed, almost no one could catch you unless your piloting skills were too bad or you ran out of energy. In the beginning, people thought that Lin Jun's flying ship was very small and could not carry a lot of energy crystals. They thought that there would be a time when they could catch him. But later on, they discovered that they were wrong. This fella had very likely brought 10 interspatial rings, and each interspatial ring was stuffed full of energy crystals. After a month of chasing, there were many flying ships that had no choice but to withdraw from the chase due to insufficient energy, admitting that they had failed. But entering the chaotic Star River, many people also brought a lot of energy crystals. They were confident that they had enough energy to chase Lin Jun until the day they ran out of energy. But no matter how much they chased and intercepted, the seesaw battle continued for 3 months. Lin Jun's small flying ship was still full of energy as it traversed through the chaotic Star River. And along the way, some people felt that it was hopeless to chase Lin Jun, so they started to attack others. The Bug Clan warriors attacked the Fire Cheelance people, and the Fire Cheelance people looked for opportunities to kill the Bug Clan warriors. Both sides did not belong to the same camp, so it was normal for them to attack each other. It was also because of this that they could not coordinate well with each other. They did not want their opponents to catch Lin Jun, so they pulled each other's legs and caused them to miss several good opportunities. Otherwise, Lin Jun might have been caught long ago. 5 months later, there were less than 3,000 people left from the original 300,000 who were still persisting. Moreover, these people were still retreating one after another because the Zergs had begun their counterattack. Ever since the Fire Cheelance martial artist had entered, the insect race had adopted a strategy of luring the enemy deeper. At first, they had been forced to retreat, but gradually, the Fire Cheelance martial artist had entered the depths of the chaotic Star River, far away from the Radiant Corridor. Even if they wanted to withdraw, it would not be a simple matter. At this moment, the Zerg experts finally made their move. The 7 insect marshals led 108 insect generals to set off from the 7 main star nests in the depths of the chaotic Star River and began to encircle and annihilate the Fire Cheelan Empire martial artists. The bitter battle lasted for 2 months, and the Fire Cheelan martial artists suffered a crushing defeat. Of the 300,000 martial artists, only less than 50,000 survived. Moreover, 4 Nebula Stage martial artists had fallen in battle, including the Thunder Realm King's disciple, Zhang Jidong. Zhang Jidong boasted of his powerful combat strength, and in order to fight for the first place, he ventured deep into the forest, but in the end, he was besieged by 2 insect commanders. The 2 insect commanders, the Locust Leader and the Bumblebee Leader, joined forces in the starry sky and killed Zhang Jidong, causing the Fire Cheelan Empire's concentration camp to suffer the greatest loss since the competition. Other than Zhang Jidong's death, Yi Hua and Feng Qingwan joined forces and met the other 4 insect commanders 3,000 stars away from the floating island. After a fierce battle, Yi Hua was injured and left, while Feng Qingwan was even more seriously injured and disappeared. If not for the fact that Feng Qingwan's name was still bright, people would have suspected that Feng Qingwan was already dead. The continuous setbacks made these Heaven's Prides in the concentration camp feel as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over them, and they realized that the Zergs were definitely not as weak as they appear to be. As for the matter of chasing Lin Jun, it had gradually been forgotten by people. Of the 3,000 pursuers, there were less than 100 people left. For the illusory wealth of 10 billion cosmos crystals, they were still persevering in their pursuit. On a trash planet, the ground was loosening. Pooh! The ground cracked open, and a person broke out of the ground. Oh, it's really difficult to dig through the ground. Fortunately, my scales are tough enough, so I can drill down smoothly. Lin Jun's clone climbed up from the ground, and he could not hide the excitement on his face. I've finally found it. It's been 7 months. After 7 months of arduous searching, I've finally found the location of the resource planet. It's here. In order to find this resource planet, Lin Jun's clone had also suffered a lot. Over the past 7 months, he had not killed any Zergs. All his energy had been used to search for resource planets. He had worked almost without sleep and rest. He had basically searched all the garbage dumps in this galaxy. After exploring hundreds of planets, he had finally found the target he was looking for. This resource planet had a diameter of more than 500 kilometers, and it was not considered a particularly small planet. It was unknown how many years the garbage had existed here, as it covered an area of 3,000 meters on the surface. Lin Jun dug underground and advanced, and it took him more than 10 days to find out that this was a resource planet. Chris, can you estimate how many thunder crystals this resource planet contains? Can you help me upgrade to level 9 stellar level? After 7 months of space travel, Lin Jun's main body had finally advanced to level 4 stellar level, and his star power had risen to 500. However, he had not had the chance to meet up with his clone and was still running in circles with his pursuers in the distant starry sky. Master, although the number of thunder crystals contained in this resource planet is not small, the amount you need to advance to level 9 stellar level is too large. After all, this is an ore, and more than 95% of it is useless. Moreover, there will be wastage during the absorption process. According to my estimates, you can probably advance to level 8 stellar level through this resource planet. It will be difficult to advance to the peak of level 8 unless you can avoid wastage. Then, you can advance to level 9, but that is almost impossible. Level 8 stellar level. That's about it. What I lack now is star power. If I can advance to level 8, it will definitely be enough. Moreover, I still have the stellar level crystals to absorb. After finally finding the location of the resource planet, Lin Jun wanted his main body to return home. Lin Jun was also very annoyed by those who followed behind her. At present, there were only 20 to 30 people chasing him. They were in 4 or 5 small spaceships, and there was not a single bug race martialist. They were all from the Fire Chilan Empire. Although the Empire did not allow martialists to kill each other, no one could restrain these lawless martialists in the chaotic Star River. For the sake of 10 billion universe crystals, they would do anything. It's been 7 months. It's about time to put an end to this. You guys have been chasing me for so long. It's time to repay your debt. During these days, Lin Jun had also figured out the identities of the people chasing him. Among the 20 or so people, there was only one nebulous stage martialist, which was Sun Hao. The rest were all in the black hole stage. After confirming the route, Lin Jun began to turn the ship around and return to the garbage treatment plant. He wanted to settle this matter completely here and then cultivate in peace. It's been 7 months, Lin Jun. Even if you carry more energy blocks, it's almost time to use them up. Sun Hao sat in the spaceship. The chase was not particularly difficult. He carried enough energy blocks, and now half of them had been consumed. He believed that Lin Jun would not carry more energy blocks than him. And now Lin Jun was sailing in the direction of the garbage treatment plant, which confirmed Sun Hao's guess. What was he going to do at the garbage treatment plant? The only possibility was to find some energy blocks from those abandoned spaceships. However, those damaged spaceships in the garbage dump had been there for countless years. Even if there were still energy blocks, the remaining energy was almost exhausted. Lin Jun's actions were enough to prove that he had reached the end of his life. This chase should be over. Lin Jun, you're finished. Lin Jun's main body was sitting cross-legged in the cabin, quietly experiencing the changes of the Dark Star. After 7 months of long travel, the Dark Star had finally completely absorbed the power of the planet's heart of vegetation. From the peak of the Phanerozoic universe, it was about to break through to the Mesozoic era. The Mesozoic era corresponded to the planet stage, but because the Dark Star was a physical entity, the star power it contained was getting stronger and stronger. It was dozens of times stronger than the star power of a planet stage martialist. It was also by relying on the increasing power of the Dark Star that Lin Jun was able to support him to fight across realms. The Dark Star was his strongest trump card. On the star fruit tree, flowers bloomed one after another. More and more star crystals began to appear in the sky, the beehive, and the ant's nest. This is the final bloom of the heart of vegetation's power. This wave of star crystals is exceptionally large. If I can make good use of it, coupled with the thunder crystal mine on the resource planet, I might have a chance to break through to the level 9 star stage. But now is not the time to study it. My dark star is finally about to advance. The cloud contact vine was like a giant snake. It was attached to the tree and wrapped around the starfruit tree. It was the right decision to bring the cloud contact vine into the dark star space. The vine could effectively suppress it and prevent the starfruit tree from growing too large and absorbing too much of the dark star's energy. Only with this excess energy could more star crystals be produced. But even so, the starfruit tree had already grown to over 20,000 meters tall. Fortunately, the dark star was much larger than Earth. If it was on Earth, the starfruit tree would have already rushed out of the atmosphere. Powerful life force pervaded the dark star. The vegetation was exuberant, and microorganisms had already begun to appear in the mountains and rivers. At the foot of the starfruit tree, a small red flower bud stood upright. With the help of the starfruit tree's life force, it was the first flower to bloom on the dark star. Lin Jun's mental power was constantly watching it, waiting for it to bring the first bright color to the dark star world that had evolved from the ancient netherworld era. Drip! A drop of dew fell from the starfruit tree onto the flower bud. Moistened by this drop of dew, the red flower bud stretched lazily and slowly bloomed into a beautiful fiery red color. Although it was just an ordinary flower, in Lin Jun's eyes, it was so beautiful that it shook his soul. It was just short of that bit of life force. The moment the flower bloomed, the dark star world would advance. A rumbling sound rang out as a new round of expansion began. An invisible change was quietly happening on the dark star and the space around it. A huge amount of star power began to flow and rise. Chapter 504. If the Mesozoic era was on Earth, strictly speaking, it belonged to the Phanerozoic era. But it was different in the dark star world. The Mesozoic era was a new era. At this time, the dark star world already had the conditions to breed animals. The mountains and rivers were also relatively stable. In addition to hurricanes, tsunamis, volcanoes, and other things, the continental plates began to gradually stop drifting. And for Lin Jun, the biggest change was the improvement of his star power. The star power of the Mesozoic era was doubled compared to the Phanerozoic era. If Lin Jun had 500 star power before, the dark star accounted for 200. Then, after entering the Mesozoic era, Lin Jun had 700 star power, and the dark star accounted for 400. He had officially surpassed the star power of the stellar stage. This was the benefit of raising one's cultivation realm. This dark star, which was almost unprecedented in history, had given Lin Jun too much help. Starlight overflowed, making Lin Jun's whole body begin to glow, illuminating the interior of the spaceship. What a big improvement. It's still good to be promoted by a big realm. It directly let my star power soar to 700. Now, I have surpassed the average nebula level 1, and can be compared to a level 2 nebula level 1. That sun how only has 800 star power. This time, I have the power to fight with him. The main body continued to stabilize the realm in the cabin, and the spaceship continued to fly towards the garbage dump. Feng Xingwan, you can't run away anymore. Be obedient and surrender. In a mess of rocks, a dazzling fiery red was flying rapidly. Feng Xingwan's beautiful face was cold. The red clothes on her body were damaged, and a pair of beautiful wings were flapping rapidly behind her. However, the many wounds on her body had greatly affected her speed. Behind her, 8 insect warriors were chasing her. 2 of them had reached the level 7 nebula level. One of them was a male warrior with many arms. This was the commander of the centipede race. There was also a female martial artist with 6 arms behind her back. She was bewitching and demonic. This was the commander of the spider race. In addition, behind the 2 of them, there were 6 nebula-level insect warriors. These were all experts among the 108 insect warriors. Such a powerful team was enough to move unhindered in the chaotic Star River. These insect warriors moved forward like a net and finally stopped Feng Xingwan on an irregularly shaped meteorite. Feng Xingwan leaned on a big stone, her towering chest undulating. Facing the encirclement of the 8 galaxies, she did not show any fear. Her eyes were as cold as frost, and no emotional fluctuations could be seen. Smack, smack, smack. Commander Centipede clapped his arms. Because he had many arms, when he clapped, It felt like a group of people were clapping. She deserves to be Feng Qingwan. Fire Kylan is the new boss of the gang. Even a man has to admire her bearing. Feng Qingwan snorted. Is there anything to be afraid of? Hee hee. Boss Cyan Phoenix, it seems that you still don't know much about the insectoids. The warriors of the centipede race can't hold it in if they don't find a woman to mate with every day. Especially me, my strength and endurance in bed is definitely not something you can imagine. You always have a cold face, but don't you know how beautiful you are? I have been waiting for this day for a long time. After seeing you, I can't sleep if I don't think about you every day. Ha ha. Commander Spider was jealous. That's enough. You can't move when you see a beautiful woman. Don't I accompany you every day? Commander Centipede curled his lips. Then, can I change my taste? You don't know that when Feng Qingwan first came to Fire Kylan, she was known as the #1 beauty of the Empire. Many people were thinking about her. If it wasn't for this woman's vicious attacks and the protection of the king of the chaotic world, I'm afraid she would have been eaten up by others. Today, I have such an opportunity. Keep a lookout for me later. After it's done, I will feed you. Then I will suck her dry and see if I can grow up to be like her. Commander Spider looked at Feng Qingwan, who was still attractive after being injured. He wanted to peel off the skin of that beauty and put on himself. If it was an ordinary woman, after hearing the vicious words of Commander Centipede and Commander Spider, she would have been scared out of her wits. But Feng Qingwan was not. Do you want such an opportunity? Then tell me, how did you find my location? Who gave you the information? Hee hee. Beauty, are you trying to get information from me? I can only tell you that the information came from your own people. As for who it is, you will never guess. If you make me comfortable in bed, I will consider revealing some information to you. Feng Qingwan glanced at him. You are not worthy. Scorned by such a beauty, the centipede commander's expression changed. I gave you face, but you don't want it. I never intended to be gentle with you. Now that things have come to this, you have no choice but to agree. Let's go. He and Commander Spider, as well as the other 6 galactic stage cultivators, attacked Feng Qingwan together. Commander Centipede's 1,000 hands attacked together, and the attack was overwhelming. Commander Spider shot out 2 white silk threads, which quickly condensed into a large net, blocking all of Feng Qingwan's escape routes. Burning Sky Flame. Feng Qingwan raised an eyebrow in the face of this violent attack, and the blazing white flames around her shrouded the meteorite. Be careful. This little bitch still has the strength to fight back, Commander Spider exclaimed, but it was too late. The 6 galactic stage cultivators were enveloped by this ball of flame and instantly vaporized. Commander Centipede was too close to Feng Qingwan, and under Feng Qingwan's control, a flame beam directly shrouded his crotch. Ah! My little brother. Commander Centipede's 1,000 hands attacked together, and with all the means to extinguish the fire, it took a lot of effort to extinguish the fire, but between his legs, there was a black hole. You don't have to think about it this time. Grab the air and masturbate at night. Feng Qingwan's face was pale, but she still left a sarcastic remark. Her tattered red clothes revealed her snow-white back and a golden phoenix on her shoulder. The burning sky flame was activated again and directly burned a hole in the spider's web, and her delicate body flew out quickly. F***CK. Go after her. This is her true life flame, and it is her last resort. If we catch her again, she will not have any strength to fight back. Even a child can kill her. Commander Centipede's crotch was severely injured. Although it could still recover, it would take a long time, and he hated Feng Qingwan to the core. Spider Commander also followed Commander Centipede to chase, but after Feng Qingwan activated her true life flame, the colorful wings behind her flapped, and her speed increased all the way, turning into a stream of light, and disappeared into the depths of the stars under the gaze of the two. ***. She ran away. She can't have run far. She can't continue to fight in this situation as long as we find her. Ouch! I better go back and heal first. Feng Qingwan, you better pray that you don't fall in my hands, or I will make you suffer. It's coming. Lin Jun's doppelganger opened his eyes on an old metal satellite. In the distant sky, the spaceship had already flown over. The real body drove the spaceship, and after circling in the sky, it landed on the trash planet. The doppelganger immediately went up and stood together with the real body, ready to fight side by side. After standing in position, a few spaceships in the distance had already arrived one after another. Lin Jun stood on the ground, and suddenly he waved his hand in the air, and the gravity exploded. In order to kill Lin Jun, the martial artists on the two spaceships were too fast, and they were not prepared for Lin Jun's move. The speed of the spaceship and the gravity caused the spaceship to suddenly accelerate, and it rushed straight to the ground. Rumble! Two huge fireballs rose into the sky, and most of the people in the spaceship did not even get down from the spaceship, and they died in the explosion. Two powerful martial artists rushed out with fire all over their bodies, and the doppelganger that was already prepared jumped up, and the long spear of the horizon spear shook. Poo-pee-you! The two martial artists in the later stage of the black hole realm died on the spot. Almost 30 people were chasing Lin Jun, and in an instant, there were only a dozen left. Seeing such a scene, two spaceships turned around and ran away. They came for the money, but Lin Jun was too fierce. This was not about making money, but about losing their lives. Only Sun Hao's spaceship stopped. Sun Hao came out of the spaceship early and swooped down from the sky. Well done, Lin Jun. I originally felt that those annoying flies buzzing around me were annoying, and now it's quiet. Sun Hao said, slowly walking towards Lin Jun, and said leisurely, "It seems that you have chosen a cemetery for yourself. This place is not bad, and it stinks to the sky. It's just right for burying trash like you, huh?" Lin Jun also laughed. "I also think this place is not bad. The rise of Lin Jun, is here. As for you, you can sleep here forever to witness my rise. In your dreams, 7 months ago, I was careless and let you slip away from me. This time, you won't have such a chance again." After saying that, Sun Hao immediately took out his rod. "Lin Jun, today, I will let you see the true strength of a second-level galaxy. Even if your talent is heaven-defying, the huge gap between realms is definitely not something that can be made up for by aptitude. Then give it a try. Armor transformation. Armor transformation." The main body and the clone both transformed into armor at the same time. Lin Jun's clone shook the horizon spear and directly attacked Sun Hao. Clang, 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 clang. The clone did its best to attack, while the main body held the yin-yang spear and also launched an attack on Sun Hao from the side. This time, when the two sides fought, Sun Hao suddenly felt a huge pressure. Lin Jun's main body and clone combined attack was actually much stronger than the last time. It was obviously not as desperate as the last time, but made him feel that it was difficult to resist. The two spears were like two giant pythons flying up and down, revealing huge fangs from time to time, shaking Sun Hao until he repeatedly retreated. This is impossible. It's only been a few months. What's going on?"